me see. Chief, we are live. Talk to me about Great Britain, London. While we go live, let me go to our little song here, guys. Give us a few minutes.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of On Point. Let me welcome all of our guests. Let me welcome the doctor from across the pond, from the UK, Dr. I almost call you Dr. Peabody, but you are Dr. Fidel Booty. Welcome, Doc.
Yeah, thank you. I was over on your end last Sunday, but then you decided not to show up. But I'm back in the UK, so it's good to be here as always.
Excellent. Let me welcome Joseph Taiwo from the great state of Texas, Houston in particular, I guess. Welcome, Chief.
Hey, how you doing, gentlemen? Mr. Gibbon, where you been? You went to Liberia, now you want to join the Boga government. You didn't want to come back?
That's right. That's right. You know, when you You go over there, the corruption got the grease everywhere. You got to go and be part of it. But yes, we Liberia was good. 5 weeks out there was great. Had some I would say fantastic time. Was able to serve on some very interesting committees. Did some work for the United States government indirectly. So yes, it was great. But let me say, welcome to you guys. For those of you who are seeing me for the first time, we say Happy New Year. I know I was here. We talked about it. Some of you were not here. But today's topic today is a very special day in the Republic of Liberia. For those of us who are very pessimistic about the country, our pessimism has been validated again. And for those of you who are optimistic about Liberia, I can tell you flat out, you have a daunting task to prove to us and the rest of the world why Liberia has any redeeming value. Since 1822, this is 204 years of existence. All we have to do, or all we have in our arsenal, is blame the white man or blame the West. This brings me to the monstrosity of a decision this week in the Liberian Supreme Court. Before I go to my colleagues, let me take you back to Samuel K. Doe. When Doe was on his last leg, he says, those of you who are cheering for this revolution or whatever it is, you think it's about Doe. After I am out of here, you will find out that this is bigger than Doe. He said, this is a town trap. It will not only catch the chicken, it will catch everybody. So here we are, we have a Supreme Court decision that is dividing our country. Is it actually prophecy? Or is it a nation that is retrogressing? We are talking about the power of the state being used to muzzle the Dr. Booties of the world, to be careful what you say. Or when you enter Liberia, we will arrest you for what we consider, what we interpret as contempt. The towers of the world that are saying to you that this system of governance is not a real one for us. That's why we have been exploiting it. So without further ado, let me bring our folks in here. That's my little monologue. Dr. Booty, we have a situation in Liberia that I call a monstrosity, basically a fiat, where the Supreme Court is legislating from the bench. And you could tell those who are supposedly spiritually or culturally endowed, saying that this country now needs some morality, and this will bring some morality back to the country. And my question to them was, have Liberia ever had morality? It's like saying, let me Liberia great again. If you say again, that means Liberia was great at some point. So if this is a morality issue, who is the morality police? Let me come to you, Dr. Booty. The Supreme Court said that this young man has been found in contempt because he abused the mother and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So the Chief Justice says that this man have brought the court into disrepute, public disrepute. Does the Supreme Court Chief Justice have a point? Your take on this issue?
All right, Mr. Gavin. So first of all, I think that was the best monologue that you've ever provided in my almost 2 years, I think, now of being on the show. That was great in terms of laying the premise for the conversation. So last week, Mr. Tao, myself, and Mr. Patmo, prior to the decision being handed down, tried our best to remain calm and try and dissect why this was an issue in the first place. Because I felt, and I said last Sunday, that the fact that the Supreme Court even picked up on this made it an issue, made it news, gave Prophet Key a higher level of visibility that maybe most people wouldn't have. I don't listen to Prophet Key, so I didn't hear initially what he said about the Chief Justice. I had to go, I think, sometime today and listen to what he said, and that's where I'll start, right? I didn't hear the Marcos. Obviously, I will handle that separately, right? But the accusation was that the Chief Justice is corrupt because he's building a hotel in Nimba County, and the value of the hotel does not equate to the income that he earns as Chief Justice. Now, in my opinion, that's a valid question to be asking. If Fidel Budi is appointed to government and Fidel Budi is making 5,000 a month, and he's been in the job for maybe a year, which means he's earned 60,000, but he's built in that period a structure that is worth 150, 200,000. That's a valid question for people to be asking. Like, well, but Fidel, how did you ain't got no businesses, you ain't got no other income? How is it that your 60,000 a year government job is enabling you to build a $250,000 building, right? That's a valid question to ask, right? And to suggest, in his opinion, that, and again, any reasonable human being listening to Prophet Key will understand that he's expressing an opinion, right? If there are facts, obviously he talks about the building being constructed in Nimba County, but in terms of the corruption or the Chief Justice being corrupt, that's an opinion. Because I'm sure Prophet Key doesn't have access to the Chief Justice bank account to see monies going in there, but he's just putting two and two together, looking at the facts and the fact that the structures that he's building does not equate to the money that he's earning, and made an opinion. Now, my understanding of libel laws and things like that, an opinion is an opinion. You can't sue someone for denigrating you if they offer an opinion, which is why political speech is usually protected, because these are normally opinions that people express. Now, that is my view on kind of the that aspect of it in terms of what he said. In terms of the action of the Supreme Court, Mr. Gaiman and Mr. Tao, I'm worried. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm worried because I for one, I remember when ultra-virus came out, I criticized the Supreme Court at the time that they had the opportunity of coming down very clearly and not wasting the Liberian people time with this Latin that they were putting out there. And I believe that they were complicit in what was going on at the legislature. And some of us now might soon be retroactively being called in contempt of court, right? And be, you're scared to go to your own Liberian now before they put you inside Saw Beach for 6 months as well. And that is a worrying sign for Liberia. And I tell you why I believe it's worrying. Again, many people will argue, okay, you're not a lawyer. My understanding, the Constitution is written in plain and simple English, and it's very clear. In Article 21, I think it is, the due process clause says that nobody, no citizen of Liberia, can have their rights and freedom revoked without due process and fair trial, right? Now, nobody, and I'm interested to listen to Mr. Tao and yourself, who witnessed what happened at the Supreme Court can accept that as a fair trial. There is no way you can have the person who is the accused, the person who is the victim, the alleged victim, presiding over the trial of the accused, and you expect the accused to get a fair trial. That is just not possible. My understanding of the law is that the Supreme Court is an appellate court. It's not a trial court. You don't go there to try cases. You go there to appeal the cases of the opinions of the lower courts and for them to interpret the Constitution and laws of Liberia, which is why cases like these are started in lower courts and then make their way up to the Supreme Court for them to then interpret it or reverse a decision of a lower court. That he was tried in the Supreme Court, I think George Wenner mentioned today, means that he has no recourse. There's nowhere to appeal, right? Which is why the Supreme Court cannot be a trial court. Look, this, I believe, is an abuse of power. Those who are clapping and excited about this, and I've heard some women online indicating that man-causing can be stopped and this and that. I'm like, man-causing will not stop for two reasons, right? One, it's almost like a mainstay in Liberian culture. For some reason, Liberians, as a group of people, who let man-causing be. I don't know why, but we let man-causing. Number two, the people who normally insult mothers are mostly women, not men, not Prophet Key. And most men don't go around insulting other people's mothers, right? It's normally women. So the fact that people clapping all this, yeah, now we'll see the people stop. It's just a lot of nonsense. Look, anyone who doesn't take this seriously, it's crying. Like he said with President Doe, what he mentioned, they believe that because they dislike Prophet Key, so anything that happens to him is justified. That is not the case. The issue here is not because I like Prophet Key. I don't know Prophet Key. I don't care much about him. But when the judiciary that is supposed to be interpreting the law is now making the law, that is a major concern for all of us, especially those of us who commentate on politics in Liberia.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Do us a favor, share the show. Today is Monday. Is that Monday or Sunday? It's Sunday, depending on where you are. If you're in Australia, it's Monday already. We were not having any feedback until you came here. So work on your mic. Share the show, let everybody else know that we're here. We are having a great time. Honorable Towel, let me read this to you. This is Article 74 of the Liberian Constitution as written in 1986. It says, in all matters of contempt of court, whether in the Supreme Court or in other courts, the penalty to be imposed shall be fixed by the legislature and shall conform to the provision on fundamental rights laid down by the Constitution for all citizens of the Republic of Liberia. The Constitution does not give the Supreme Court the power to sentence. And not only that, but in my lifetime, I have never heard where the court said, where the Supreme Court, any court would say, you are guilty and sentenced to 6 months in jail, but your release is predicated on a behavioral bond that you will pledge, you will never curse again. That your freedom is predicated on a behavioral bond you pledging, that you will never curse again. Taro, if this is not overreach, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Namwe. Yeah, Namwe have the feedback because CMC doing all kinds of projects, and they like to get feedback for us to let them know like how well they're doing.
So the feedback becoming automatic.
Yeah, that's the feedback. but seriously, you see, this demonstrates the corruption that Prophet Key is pointing out. Because if you practice crooked law, that's corruption. So the Chief Justice is actually really proving what Prophet Key is saying in the way he's leading the bench or the court. That's corruption. I said it here last week Sunday when they came up. The individuals, whether you are the president, whoever, you are just an individual. If somebody curse you out or says something about you or accuse you as that individual, you go to court. So you see why Liberia is in such bad state. If the court, the people who are supposed to be the one actually doing the judicial stuff for them to actually do it correctly, if you see them doing stuff like this, that even children on playground would be better than this. So what I see here is that where there is smoke, there is fire. If this Chief Justice felt that the corruption allegation, because the curse is not even an issue, there is no way where cursing somebody require for them to get arrested. If you think there is defamation, then take them to court. But when it comes to the financial aspect that Prophet Key pointed out, if the Chief Justice felt that there was something that he needed to prove, he should have taken Prophet Key to court. But because he wanted to shut him up, which means that's true corruption probably went on. So he's trying to shut him up and make sure that no one else talk. But guess what? Chief Justice, you have to know this. You are not the first to become Chief Justice in our country. You know what happened to Gene T. Phillips them? You know what happened to all of these people who came in and they think they were big power men and they were doing all this stuff. It's this kind of behavior from you, the Chief Justice, and from your Supreme Court that plunged this country into the civil war that we had. And you're walking in that same direction. And you think that when the time comes, you can just run away. It's not going to happen. If the things you're doing, instead of the country recovering, so that you're trying to set the justice system to where it works better for the betterment of the country, you're already circumventing stuff, undermining your own authority and the judicial process that was entrusted into your hands. All that you are doing is you guys are leading the country back to where it was in the late 80s and the 90s, towards another civil war. Because what they are doing, remember when they passed the so-called security or cyber security act, and we here said this is like Decree 88. People thought it was a joke. You can see it. So somebody said Boaka is going to say, no, Boaka is not going to say anything. Because Mr. President Boaka himself, he's been accused, he's been critiqued, he's been criticized. So the Supreme Court that the case is supposed to go to, so that they can then help to throw light on and resolve it. You see what they're doing. So now the protection that was there is being removed. But look at what happened here. We're not going to be quiet. We are not going to be quiet if this is the goal of the Supreme Court, because I keep hearing all the other shows. Oh, now so we want to go to Liberia, so now I think we have to keep quiet. No, that is what they want to hear from you. We can't keep quiet. We have to organize and we have to push for them to repeal, if that is a law that it passed or whatever it is, it has to be repealed. They got to free Prophet Key. If the Chief Justice believes that he has a case or he wants to bring the charges against him in a civil court, or if you think that he committed a crime against you, take him to court in a criminal court and let them deal with that and hire your lawyers and let him go in there and let Prophet Key bring his own proof. And if the allegation is that the house that you're building, whatever project you are doing, does not match up with your income because you just been there 6 months or less than 5 months, then try to prove that.
Excellent.
So I just want to end with this. No, none of us should start saying that, oh, you see what they're doing? They're not making, no, this is the nonsense that they want for you to hear. These guys are clowns because they sit in Liberia and the bench and in the legislature, all these places, they are like they have so much power, but before they're Western or counterparts and Asian counterparts and Middle Eastern counterparts, they're midgets. They can barely talk. I've been at that place when people from USAID and stuff would show up. You see all of them, the snows of the world and the talents of the world. They have their tail between their legs. They be like, I don't know why these people are back here. They call in the meeting. They can't even talk. But when they come to the Liberian people, then there's some kind. Then it's the power game. They acting like they have some kind of power.
Thank
And
you.
this
Thank
must
you.
stop.
Thank you. Honorable Victor Nagbe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. Good afternoon to you all. It's good to be here. And yes, Tao, I am here to talk a little bit about the CMC. Unabashedly, we had a gathering last night, a Valentine's gathering in Swissboro, New Jersey.
Dennis Job, please get the voucher ready for the CMC so Victor Nagbe can
Yes,
send it to the office.
and please mail that voucher to Florida to the home address of Mr. Jerome Gilman. He will send a check. We had a good time last night. Thanks to Dr. Richardson and Mr. Richardson. It was a good bonding event. We just went to review and kind of build camaraderie. But it's good to be here. I've had a lot of time to reflect on this matter between the Supreme Court and the executive, because take it or leave it, Prophet Key represents the executive. Let's not make any mistake about it. He's a friend. He's a friend.
So does the Chief Justice was just elevated by the executive?
Yes, the Chief Justice is both now representing the judiciary and the executive. I don't disagree with you on that. But look, I am all for press freedom. I am all for freedom of expression, but these freedoms have limits. They have limits. Could this matter have been handled differently by the judiciary? Maybe. I've heard the argument being made that maybe the Chief Justice should have encouraged an amicus curiae or whatever, a friend of the court, instead of he himself bringing down, the charges and sitting in judgment of Prophet Key. That argument, I buy. I think it makes a lot of sense. But to the extent that people like Prophet Key, Yeke Koluba, and the likes.
Let us not call names, because then you're personalizing it. Let's talk about citizens disagreeing or agreeing. Don't put the name, because when you put
I
the
agree.
name,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Those who, because of their limitations, will use vulgarity to express their dissent or dissatisfaction with governance, I think they don't belong in a political space. You have a contribution. You need to sit down and fashion out your expression and make your point. But coming into the public space and causing people mad, denigrating the judicial system, debasing the Chief Justice, I think it doesn't belong. And I think Prophet should sit in there for a minute and reflect on his actions. Anybody else who represents that kind of speech, I think they should follow him and go to where he is.
Let me push back a little bit. The Chief Justice talked about public disrepute. Okay, now let's look at who brings the court into disrepute. The Chief Justice himself, who is the head of the judiciary, was able to illegally appoint his son, who was not qualified for a position. Isn't he, compared to him and Prophet Key, who is bringing this court to public disrepute? Compare the two. A man
let me compare the two. The two are dissimilar. They're not the same thing. They're
okay,
not.
But the question I'm asking you, tell me, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, the guardians of the integrity of the court.
So then, Prophet Key should have made that case instead of going over there and putting his tail between his legs.
No. I'm asking you.
If you want to put a Chief Justice on trial, then you should do so.
No, but he did.
Apologize.
He did.
Then you tell them.
He did. He was advised by the Chief Justice lawyer. It wasn't his own lawyer. The Chief Justice.
So he was going to fight against the Chief Justice, and he was taking advice from the Chief Justice lawyer.
Mr. Nangwe.
Let me go to Dr. Booty come in here and help my brother out here, because my brother.
You can speak freely now because you are Donald Trump. You're back in the UK now, right?
I'm back in the UK. Yes. Thank you so much. That you guys had a great time last night. Hopefully, we can see some of the images.
Yeah. Booty, he has not recovered. This is why he's talking like that. He recovered here from last night.
And you are but to be honest, Mr. Nangwe, none of us on here, not Mr. Gaiman, Mr. Tao, or I, believe that the language that he uses is acceptable. None of us, right? That let's just lay that foundation. None of us believe that, and no well-meaning human being should accept the way that he's. I don't watch his things because of how rude he is, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? Once you start cussing like that, I don't want to pay attention. But what we're talking about here is the process, right? Imagine it was me. I said all of the things that Key said without cussing, right? Because it's people are trying to use the cussing, because the cussing itself, I don't know, and I might be wrong, and I'm happy for someone to point out, because I've read a lot of legal arguments and positions on this from Gongolo and others, and nobody has pointed me to a law in Liberia that says if you cuss the mother of a government official, that's a crime. Because this is not just contempt, this is criminal contempt. It means you've committed a crime. And for criminal contempt, you are entitled to the same provisions under the Constitution as to any crime committed. So somebody who murdered, somebody who raped, somebody who stole, and somebody who is held in criminal contempt have the same rights. And that is, they should be tried by a jury, well, in front of a jury of their peers, right? They should be tried they have the right to, they can waive their right to a jury trial, right? But they have the right to be tried in front of a jury of their peers. So a jury of their peers can make a decision as to their guilt or innocence. You cannot have, again, I'm speaking to you directly, anyone in good faith accepting that it's okay for the victim, right? The victim of the alleged criminal act to then be the adjudicator of the trial of that criminal act, right? On top of that, the Supreme Court is an appellate court. That is where you go to when all of the trials at the lower courts have led to one decision that you disagree with. You go there so they can then settle the matter. They are our old people. The old people in the village. You go to them and say, "You'll settle the matter." They're the wise and people with wisdom, right? And if they are acting in violation, in my opinion, right? Because now we have to qualify how we speak to the Supreme Court, right? In my opinion, right? In my opinion, if they're acting in violation of the Constitution that they should be experts on. I ask questions about due process. Nobody has answered the due process question for me. I'm not just on the panel, but in general. I've asked questions about why did the Chief Justice not recuse himself, right? I asked questions about why was this not put in one of the criminal courts at the lower level for this guy to have a fair trial. Now, you can debate that there is no way he can have a fair trial in any court because the Chief Justice is at the top of all of the courts, right? That's a different argument, but at least for process sake, put him in a lower criminal court so that he can have a fair-ish trial, and then he has the right of appeal. Right now, there is no right of appeal. I've never seen a trial in a Supreme Court anywhere on the planet. They only go to the Supreme Court for appeals, for interpretation, for, oh, we disagree with the order. What is your take on it? And they'll say, yeah, the people are right. That's what the Supreme Court, not to try cases.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Share this show.
Just 5 seconds. 5 seconds, right? Dr. Booty, I agree with most of what you said. 3, 2, 1. I agree with most, but I disagree with your argument about the Chief Justice recusal. Look, 5 of the justices on the bench signed. Even the Chief Justice had recused himself. This matter would have come down against Key. If we had, for instance, if we had 2 or 3 justices dissenting and there had to be a vote, your argument will hold water. But even if Bese had recused himself, all of the other 4 justices, they signed this opinion. So this is not about Bese. I think this man debased the judiciary. The judiciary was angry. And you have to be careful. You just said that, even though you're joking, but you're not joking. We have to be careful. And should we be careful when we're speaking about the Supreme Court? Maybe not. We shouldn't be too worried. But when you are going to speak about the judiciary, you must speak in a respectful manner, just like you speak about the executive and the legislature. If you're going to take up the public space and debase the Chief Justice and talk about his mom and all of that, your claptrap should be shut. Just like the Key.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Taiwo, I'm coming to you, but this is what the former Speaker of the House of the United States used to say, and I will repeat that, Tim O'Neill. They say the House of Representatives, Congress approval rating is 8%. But Tip O'Neill's approval rating in Massachusetts was 95%. So people wanted to know, why is that possible? And he says, the famous quote, everyone likes their own crooks. So this is what we are doing here. When you hit,
is that number like his own crook?
like his own crook, he agreed that it was wrong. It would have been done differently. But he said this man curses. So what is coming to him, even though his right was trampled upon, it was justly trampled upon. Dr. Taiwo, come in.
Yeah, so you know, Mr. Nangwe and like even Gonglo and all these guys, they're speaking from an emotional position. You see, we cry out here about the democracy and all the rule of law. Then when they're being violated by the very people that's supposed to actually uphold it so that there is confidence. And then, so look at the point that Mr. Nangwe made. In the first place, this thing should not have gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is now a trial court. That's the first thing. And the Supreme Court knows this. The Chief Justice, unless he's saying that he was sleepwalking, because the stuff is just plain and simple, that trial does not take place at the Supreme Court. Okay. Mr. Nangwe, in order the argument they're making that they brought the judiciary to the ridicule them. No, they did not. He spoke about an individual. We have to clarify this because people are watching. And then the statement that Mr. Nangwe made is that even if he had recused himself, which it shouldn't have even be at the Supreme Court, let's just, for the sake of this argument, that even if he had recused himself, the other justices signed, so it was going to be the same, then that's corruption. So you are admitting here that even though they see that is wrong, but because they feel that if you can accuse this guy, who is our boss, and if we don't do something, and you see us doing something, and they will speak to the accuser, so you know what? We all join in. That's corruption. So everything that they're doing is like they're proving Prophet Key or allegation or corrupt practice at the Supreme Court is corruption. They're misconstruing the law. They're twisting it. Okay. Look here, Prophet Key curse. There is no crime anywhere. Let me ask the Labyrinth something here today. Cursing mom. We know it's wrong, but let's just say cursing mom or government officials or accusing a government official.
So you are in the same boat. You are in the same boat. You know it's wrong, but you're supporting it.
Yeah.
No, but it's not legally wrong, Mr. Nangwe.
Cursing mom. Or accusing a government official, whether the president or whatever, accusation or allegation, right? Versus the actual practice that the government officials are carrying out, the corruption, the embezzlement, the industrial scale stealing. Which one of them making people to not have health care? Which one of them making the country to not be able to hire youth, to be able to train them? Because Liberian people, it's like something is wrong with us. We are trying to champion these people so that they use this as a cover, so that now when they're stealing and they're doing anything else, that no one can even accuse them anymore. No one can point it out anymore. And it seems like the CMC government, led by Brother Nangwe, they're preparing themselves already, thinking that they might gain power.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. I will not let you continue with that. I will not let you continue with that. That's a stretch. Let me tell you this. Look, we have a failed government because of people like you, Prophet Key, Yeke Kuluba, who continue to denigrate and debase our government officials. If you have, look, I agree with you. I think I believe Liberia lost in this case because why? The issue that Key raised, the issue of corruption, got lost in the shuffle. I agree, but I'm saying to you, the language that they're using is untenable, and it needs to be scrubbed from the political space. Is the process right that was done to do that? Hang on. I agree the process, and I said that in my opening. Maybe it could be done differently. But at the end, I am not opposed to the result. Let Key go and fight and file him, whatever he wants to do. Let him go and seek
Mr.
remedy.
Nangwe,
When he
that's a
gets back,
slippery slope.
let him sign a bond also to scrub his mouth. You can't come in the public square and just cause people mad because you think you can. That's
Mr. Nangwe, I expect
that is a misuse
better.
of the freedom of
Let
expression.
me welcome Anthony C. Anthony C. Happy New Year to you. First time see you this year. You looking
I know
well
you got something to
rested.
say about it. That's why he's coming. It's good to have you.
Yeah,
here,
but
Mr.
let
C.
me
Let's hear it.
just
Let's have
give
it.
my 10
I'm
seconds.
coming,
Let's have
Dr.
it.
Booty Wade. Dr. Booty Wade. Let me welcome my guest now. Jeez.
They may not guess. They may just and abruptly interrupted our show.
No,
I hope you took note of.
I brought the man on. I brought the man. I went way to sign to Grand Crew and brought the man.
I hope you took note of the guy who
the
said
man over there
do it.
looking for a superintendent job. I grind him for that, bro.
The guy who wants to
Welcome,
be a
Mr.
cannabis,
Shea.
I hope
Welcome.
you took note.
Jerome, it's good to see you. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Mr. Tao, long time. Thanks, gentlemen, for the consistency. I appreciate it. The veteran J. Victor Namwe, my dear brother, Dr. Budi, it's good to see you. On point. I see that all of you are on point with this topic. I'm in Monrovia. I'm joining you from the nation's capital.
Oh, you better be hiding somewhere. They're coming for
So
you.
you must say something into the say.
You better watch what you say. You
In
better watch.
Monrovia, you and I in the same studio. We have the same background.
That's right.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, it's good to be here.
Excellent, Dr. Booty. You were.
No, I'm just going to do 10 seconds.
Report, and then I want to read something for here to.
Yeah, because Mr. T has to come in. Yeah. So, Mr. Nangwe, where I disagree with you on this is that for you to say that because Prophet Key is cussing, that's why the government is a failed government. That I disagree with, right? Because then, like Mr. Tower is saying, you're giving them cover. You're saying that because you can call back and cuss because Prophet Key can cuss. Cussing is not the reason why this government is failing, right? It has nothing to do with that. Maybe you misspoke, and maybe if you did, then you.
No, I didn't. Okay. What is happening is a collective of various factors put together that are weighing on this government. A government is executing a decision, and you've seen people stand up in the street and challenge the police. Police go to execute a raid. People stand in the street and challenge the police because the police has lost. Yeah, you can say corruption and all of that, but no, these are intangibles that add up to undermining the government. People stand up in the public square and curse out the president, and they go free. They go and eat a nyama nyama on the sidewalk. It shouldn't be happening. That's not freedom of expression. That's criminal.
So in the U.S., you live, they don't cost the presidents there?
They don't call the president mal at all. I've not seen it.
Are you kidding me? Great. Gentlemen, 1 minute. Mr. C.
Yeah.
We are talking here of two sides of the coin here. We are talking about morality versus constitutionality. The reason some of us sociology do not like to debate morality because morality is usually relative. What is moral in Grand Judicial or what is moral in Grand Crew may not be moral in Lofa or Bunk County. What Allah said to some people may not be what Jesus Christ said to some people. This is why we still want a separation of church and state. Whatever your belief system are, let it remain there, but let's stick with the law. So here we are, Chief. The justice himself never challenged the corruption piece. I know why he did that because even the United States State Department country report for the past 10 years, I got him here, says that Liberia judicial system is corrupt. That's not me. That's not you. That's the international community. That's the State Department. And they cited some cases. So here we are. Just recently, the Supreme Court ruled against this administration. And the president of the Republic of Liberia, in our opinion, disrespected the court when he said he would not follow what the Supreme Court says. Instead, he will follow a body that had quorum. And the Supreme Court never summoned the president for contempt. Mr. Famula, member of the House of Representatives, accused this Chief Justice as being a drunk. The Supreme Court never summoned him for contempt. Why? You go after a man who is totally powerless, has no money, has no education, has no following in the intellectual realm. Some people say he's the easiest of the targets. So here we are. Not only is he sentenced to 6 months in jail, but his release is predicated on him filing something called behavior bill that says he will never curse again. Mr. Shea, your take on this one, you are a journalist, you are a father, you are a son, you are a Liberian citizen, you care about our nation like everybody else. Your take on this?
This is a subject that the whole nation is debating and discussing. And as unfortunate as it is that we're now having a national discussion on morality, legality, values, and decency as a result of a character, a citizen who lacks everything that I just mentioned. But such is the inconvenient truth. Look, I mentioned that there are so many legs to this. Legally, I've read a lot of legal opinions from, very good legal minds that I respect. I read their writing thoroughly. And nearly 99% of them agree that if you look at it on legality, constitutionally, they hold strongly that the Chief Justice and entire Supreme Court actually abused power, that it was a complete overreach. First, they mentioned that, look, it is the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court that said, look, this man has accused us of something. And they cited him. And the very Chief Justice is the one who presided. So on that ground, they said that, look, you can't do that. You can't be the one who accused the man of harming you or saying something to you, and you be the very person that is adjudicating the man and even imposing a penalty on the man. That is not proper. That is against due process. That is against everything else, according to the legal mind. And I really agree with them, because if Prophet Key was, let's say, the Chief Justice Munda, who there might be a possibility is the injured party here, had carried a complaint, then of course we'll have a case here. All right. And so on the issue of legality and constitutionality, I agree with those legal minds who hold strongly that the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, abused power here. Now, Prophet Key himself has been a #1 abuser of power throughout his entire career. And if you look on my Facebook page, I wrote a long piece. You have to be patient to read it, that this man have been on the world stage. So I feel that the Chief Justice, though he abused power, that is the only thing it could take to subdue this man. And I'm really enjoying that.
No.
I'm really enjoying that, because here's the thing. This man abused President. We have Munda, who has died long time ago. We have his wife. He brought it to even President Bwaka, abused Bwaka, and many other people, abusing the power, the privilege he had as a podcaster. And everybody sat there looking at this man. Now, the very administration, when Judy Andy had a very serious case that could land the very Prophet Key in jail, the executive mansion used Bushi Ben Keita, and they had to cut this man loose. President Bwaka made that intervention through his legal advisor. All right. So where we have failed to find a strategic way to deal with this man who has become an embarrassment to our country, Bwaka couldn't do it. The Chief Justice came and said, look, if this man is abusing power, I will abuse power to get him. So I agree with the Chief Justice that the only way we can bring this man down to put him in his place is to use the same abuse of power that he has been using to denigrate mothers, wives, and daughters in this place and disrespect public officials. So that's where I stand. And when you look at it from the cultural aspect, we don't behave like that. We were not brought up like that. So definitely that's where I stand.
You know what? I don't disagree with you. And again, I think Liberia lost in this case because we got nothing out of it. But Key would disagree with you. He came into the court and admitted his guilt. He was crying. He said, "The boom of again. He will not do it again." He begged them. That what we'll be doing when you can't. You stand out in the public way. You cuss. Then you go and say you beg. Then go sit down in the South Beach and reflect on his action. When he come back again, we'll have a better operating political space. The people like him who proud are good noise. We want good noise to come into public space and criticize the government and talk about what is wrong. Don't bring no Marcos in the public square and be talking about what man, behind loads and all of that. That is criminal. He needs to go and refine his speech and come back.
One minute, guy. Let me play this here. Because he made such a statement on a podcast that made any feel were insulting to her.
We can't hear you. It's too low.
Jerome, give it volume. It's a little too low.
Okay.
I'll put it close to your microphone, isn't it?
Is it true?
It's too low.
Arrested on behalf of the government of Liberia and charged him criminally? He said yes. I said on what basis? He said on the basis of a complaint found by this lady who said that she was criminally insulted in his podcast. Then I asked, are you aware of the Table Mountain Declaration that Liberia signed when Liberia decriminalized the criminalized speech? And are you also aware of the 2019 Camara Act?
Why are you playing, Jerome?
All the penal code sections that has to do with criminal speech. So when I learned that counselor was showing it to me, I said, okay, go and look at it. And if you see that speech of the kind that Prophet Key did has been decriminalized, some people cannot be arrested for it, then your best course of action will be to drop this. Because we are suing in the name of the Republic of Liberia. You have a rate that says Republic of Liberia by and through President Prophet Key. And it is not the government position. This government is not arresting anybody for speech. We're not arresting people for abusing. Okay. This is Mr. Keita, the legal advisor to the president. I think we have that in our archive, but we didn't have time to cue it. So I'll play it for you to hear. This is the legal advisor to the president that says the judicial system, Liberia as a nation, legally cannot charge Prophet Key because he curses the unaware of Judy Andy. And he cited two articles. The Table Mountain Act, that was declaration that was signed by Liberia, or we Liberia is a signatory. And then the KAK, the Camara Act that was signed decriminalizing all species. Excuse me. If we are signatory to the to the tabletop or Table Mountain Declaration, and we decriminalize this kind of speech according to Keita. What has changed? Let me go back to Anthony C. Anthony C. I know you have that clip in our in our. This one is just hard to negotiate. How can this happen?
And Jerome, as I tried to narrate earlier, right? This man's behavior has been unacceptable. And from my reading of all the legal opinions, I don't disagree with those who hold strongly that there was a judicial overreach here. Because who is the party that is injured in this case? Is this the Chief Justice? If the Chief Justice is the party injured here, can he be the complainer, the adjudicator, and at the same time, the one who is imposing the penalty on the individual, if you look at it, that is not proper. That is a serious judicial issue that one of the legal might call it precarious, that you cannot do that. So I don't disagree that the manner in which this matter was handled, it was a total abuse of power and overreach by the entire Supreme Court. I'm not only trying to single out the Chief Justice here. What I also agree is that this is all it could take to put the man in his place. This guy has embarrassed us nationally. And I see my good friend Budi is shaking his head, and someone commented that, "Lord, see it, two wrongs cannot make a right." And I agree, two wrongs cannot make a right? But do you agree that this man has been misbehaving? I hold strongly that there are better ways that we can hold our public officials accountable. We don't have to go the way of Prophet Key, because what is happening now, you have, most of Prophet Key's supporters are women. Women are supporting the man, and they are giving him money. And what kind of moral is he passing on to our society? How has Prophet Key insulting public officials, women, and other people helped to bring back the morals that we need to bring decency in our society? It has not helped. So if the man lives by the sword, he must die by the sword, and I stand with that firmly.
Great. Let me go to Mr. Tower. If we're talking about morality here, a country where 98% of its population basically live in abject poverty, where the government officials are robbing and stealing. The president of the Republic of Liberia just built a $10 million a condominium or whatever you call it in Foya, while people are dying, hospitals are closing. What kind of moral is this? You are comparing that, you're going to equate that to somebody my cousin? How somebody my cousin takes food out of my table? How does that happen? The president just announced they are building another $20 million Justice Department, Ministry of Justice, money that were not allocated, that have not been appropriated legally. All of these things are happening, and nobody is talking about it. But they are talking about a man who curses somebody's mom. Go ahead, Dr. Tower.
Yeah. So maybe because my brother see my being in Monrovia, so he has to be careful. Maybe Victor Nangwe, maybe he's in a tough place where he need to be careful. But this is really strange for me to be hearing that he embarrassed her internationally, or he been damaging the image of the country. Ask anybody here abroad, anywhere, even Ghana, anywhere that even know anything about somebody called Prophet Key. It said international embarrassment. It's the yellow machine issue. That's international embarrassment. Guys taking $45,000 to buy a vehicle and the country can't run. Signing bogus concessions, then siphoning of money, auctioning off all blocks to get 3% and turn over everything for pocket change. The president building a $10 million store, or even that, probably more than 10 million, because they have never been upfront. 1 million is for this other person, then it's for that, then it's for the OAU, then it's for Mining River Union. Or Ellen siphoning off her children, bankrupting the oil company and doing all kinds of stuff. These are the international embarrassment. Not some guy cursing. So look, if we have personal qualms against Prophet Key, that's something else. We can't sit here every day, especially Mr. C. You guys are the owner of this stuff, of this particular station, of the broadcast, where you're done very well, where you're talking about democracy and rule of law. Then when they come to the rule of law, you want to start to meander, talking about morality and all this stuff, and not in our culture and all this one right here. It has nothing to do with it. The case, the Supreme Court is not a trial court. You don't try cases at the Supreme Court. Let's just show the case that he shouldn't have even gone there. That's the first thing. Look, it is not whether Prophet Key cursed or not. You say nobody can stop him. Who is Prophet Key? Does he have an army behind him? Take him to court. What, you want us to go back to the gangster racing stuff that we are trying to get away from? No, let me tell you, Decree 88 is what you're seeing here. Time trap is not for right alone. Some of us here, we are going against the government. We are their competitors against their representatives. The same thing, when they start hooking us, you're going to be complaining. You think that they're going to stop only because somebody cursed mom? No, they're setting a precedent already. They can trump up something and get you straight to the Supreme Court and make an absolute decision and send you back to better Yala. They'll go rebuild that place. So we should not mix the two up. Cursing is wrong. Accusation, cursing, they say it's criminal. Then taking the criminal code. If you think that there's defamation character, taking the civil code. All these things are there. You don't jump over it and come all the way up here. The Chief Justice and their bench, they're proving that Prophet Key accused one person, and they brought the entire Supreme Court in. The U.S. State Department for years accused and damnation of the entire Supreme Court. Let them sanction and call the U.S. State Department or how you call it, subpoena the ambassador. If they don't have any power,
okay.
these guys are just clowns.
Let me read
Instead of
this.
focusing on things that are important for the country, they can't even do it. They want to beat the population down so that nobody say anything. When they're looting all over the place, nobody says anything. That's a fear they want to create. And this is what led to that war. They have a youthful population that are ready. That's a waiting army. I keep saying this. I go to Liberia and I see them. They are ripe. They are ready. All they have to do is for somebody to just organize and call them. And that country is going to plunge into some serious crisis.
Great.
Let them focus on the things that are important for this country to move forward.
Dr. Booty,
Yes,
this is from George Warner, and he says here, he said, where authority is final, the moral burden is heavier and not lighter. He said, it is through this lens of authority restraint of conscience that I approach today's decision and what it means for Liberia's legal history. This is not just a court. This is the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, he writes. The contempt case against Prophet Key did not originate in a magisterial court. It did not pass through a circuit court. There was no trial judge whose reasoning could be tested. No appellate panel to correct excesses in error. The Supreme Court instead initiated the contempt proceedings, evaluated the alleged offense, determined guilt, and imposed the punishment. There is no higher domestic court to appeal to. At best, one may seek rehearing within the same Supreme Court. There is no independent review, he says. The court initiated the process. The court adjudicated the process. The court sentenced Prophet Key. In legal ethics, secular or religious, this configuration triggers the earliest warning in law, and is in Latin. No authority should be judged in its own cause without extra judicial restraint. In our canon law, such movement with fear and trembling precisely because power, when turned inward to defend itself, is more vulnerable to excesses. In any constitutional democracy, finality carries the heaviest obligation of self-restraint. Lower courts may err because their errors are already curable and checkable. The Supreme Court must err cautiously because its judgments are judicially final. Final and binding when a court exercises original contempt jurisdiction over speech directed at itself, it stands as a constitutional precipice. Liberia should not tread this movement lightly. Today, it is controversial Prophet Key, whose language may find crude. We may find crude and indefensible. Tomorrow, it could be a journalist sharply criticizing the judgment, a lawyer questioning judicial reasoning, or a scholar interrogating constitutional interpretation. Once the highest court treat public ridicule of itself as punishable contempt without the discipline of a lower court, adjudication, or the safeguard of eternal appellate review, the president will not remain confined to today's speaker. Basically, it is not just to Prophet Key. This is not going to be confined to Prophet Key. And he says here, our judgment, the judge should not impose penalty based on vengeance. I mean, I am so mad with you that I'm going to throw you in the jail and throw the keys away, despite what the law says. This is where we are now, Dr. Booty. This is vengeance on the man who feels he was insulted.
Well, you see, the thing is, when we started, there were three of us. There was you, there was Mr. Tao, and there was me. And we all said in our opening that, look, we do not agree with Prophet Key's methods, nor do we agree with his message. Right? It was clear. Mr. Nangwe and Mr. Thie, and unfortunately he's gone, but I'm sure he'll come back, also agree that they do not agree with Prophet Key's methods or his message. So all of us are in agreement. The issue that we have here, and I'm disappointed, if I must say, with my brother Anthony and my and I don't disagree with Mr. Nangwe very often, but I'm disappointed in the fact that you can say that, oh no, we know that what they did was wrong. We know that what they did is an abuse of power. We know that what they did is a violation of the Constitution, but I Prophet Key, so it's okay, right? And that is where we started from in 1847, right? Oh, that country boys, then so it's fine. You can do it to them, And it continued for 130 years, and then Doe then came like, oh well, that Congo people, yeah, you can take their property, and then it continued for a period. And so, oh, that Manon people, you can kill them, And then and that's where we keep going. We keep making mistakes, right? At the end of the day, wrong is wrong, right is right. It's as simple as that. Whether you like me or you don't like me is irrelevant, right? There are a lot of people who don't like me. I can tell you that. Right? There are more people who dislike me than those that like me. But the rules are the rules. The facts are the facts. The Supreme Court does not have the constitutional right to trial cases. They do not. And there is no way that Liberians, and I read the piece by one, Mr. Gaiman before coming on, that Liberians, any of us, whether we like it or not, should sit down and accept this. Because this is that's the word, precedence, right? In those of you who like the law, like some of us, once you do it, you can't just undo it like that, right? It means that every Supreme Court that comes after this can now decide that, oh, what Nangbe said. He said, oh, but then you put it inside. See, say, oh, you put it inside. And you cannot then turn the clock around and say, oh, no, but I didn't cause the Prophet. Yes, it's irrelevant. As long as they determine that you've done something that is interpreted by them as criminal contempt, you can go to prison. Because again, I asked the question on social media, when has causing man been a crime in Liberia? There is never a time I travel to Liberia. I mean, when I go to Liberia, I let it go. The Beyond the Hall community, every Beyond the Hall community going, people causing man the whole day. Where's the police arresting all the people that causing man? Oh, because they on social media, or because I'm the Chief Justice man they cause. So causing man only a crime when you cause the Chief Justice man, but the rest of the other people want to cause their man and already. We need to stop. This is a very slippery slope. It's wrong. And I expect Mr. Nangwe and Mr. Thie to accept and say that this thing is wrong. And not because it's Prophet Key and say, oh, no, well, it's Prophet Key. This is the only way we can handle him. No, there are better ways to handle Key. There are better ways to handle Key. Like we've all said, sue this guy in civil court for a $1 million libel case only. Say, let's see what and when he can pay, then he will go to jail. Right? Because if you lose a case like that and you cannot pay, they start seizing your properties and they send you to jail. There's a better way, a legal way to do it. Nobody will go to court, say Prophet Key has impugned my reputation and lose that case. Because the evidence is so overwhelming that nobody can lose that case, but do it the right way. So, Mr. Sia, I disagree with you that this was the only way. Breaking the law is the only way. No, you could have done it legally and still get this guy behind bars.
Great. Honorable Nawe.
Yeah. So, first of all, I know you're in.
Mr.
No,
Nawe.
I don't want to forget. I know you'll do your intro, but let me disagree with Dr. Budi. And I'm glad you disagree with me. First of all, when I came on, this is what I said. I didn't say this was good for Prophet Key alone. I said Yeka Kuluba should also be on the standby. So I'm not making this about Prophet Key. This is look, the president
No,
of
you're
the
making it about
United States.
cussing.
No, the president of the United States of America, Dr. Budi, Donald John Trump, has come under fire for using inappropriate language towards Sotomayor, towards Coney Barrett. He appointed Coney Barrett. Experts are calling that an existential threat to the independence of the judiciary.
Did they call it a crime?
No,
Yes.
no, listen. Listen.
But anyway, let me learn. Look,
I will not let you go. Did the Supreme Court call? They call President what his name? President Trump and put him in jail, or they call him for contempt?
because he's President Trump.
No, come on, you see.
Because he's President Trump.
Okay. Now let's go to this. Okay, since you accept this precedent, you say it was wrong, but it is for the common good. Let's say Jerome Gayman has become so vile and irritable to the government, and the Supreme Court decides that, listen, y'all hang him. Okay? The death penalty is good to just shut him, but y'all hang him. And they put the rope around my neck like they did Justin Obi and hanged him. And then you say, even though the hanging, it was wrong for them to hang him, but he deserved to die because he'd been cussing too much. Is that where we're headed now? That even though it's wrong, but it's right because he deserves it?
When I came here, I introduced myself. I said, look, this is a matter I've had enough time to reflect on. I struggle with this as well. Look, my own son. Hold on, Jerome. My own stop being melodramatic. Today is Sunday.
Are you struggling with the life you living now?
My own son, who's supposed to mean everything, disagrees with my position, but this is my position.
You are struggling with it.
This is my position. And
you're struggling with it. You're struggling.
I struggle with it. I said, did I think this matter could have been handled differently? Absolutely. That was my intro. I said the process that was used to settle this matter, and I said maybe the Supreme Court justice could have used a friend of the court. I think Mr. C said maybe the mother of the Chief Justice could have brought a case. All of those are plausible possibilities. I agree. But to the extent of what has happened to Prophet Key, I also support it. I will not support anybody because you have the freedom to express yourself. You come in the public square and you debase mothers and sisters and daughters, and you're coming to sit down here and tell me all right because he's free to do so. Hell no.
Nobody said it was all right.
But that's what you're implying.
Let me go to Honorable C.
You do it the right way.
Honorable C. I'm coming to you. Honorable C.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Listen, the LEC quit to go, so we gotta get you a chance. So
yeah, the LEC won't get me.
They can cut him off. He can go.
I don't say LEC was stable.
Yeah,
and to be honest, LEC is gone, but it just shows signs that it's coming back. It's my power band that I'm using right now, so I'm holding my breath here, gentlemen. But Mr. Tao, let me allow you ask your question.
Yeah.
I think the is coming back.
The question is to both you and Mr. Nangwe. Is there a disclaimer that either of you would like to make concerning this discussion?
Yes. Let me go first, Mr. Nangwe. Yes. Focus on Liberia. Official reporting on this matter is on this very Facebook page. Focus on Liberia official reporting and analysis based on our research and consultation with our legal contributors here stands with the law that this was a complete abuse of power by the entire Supreme Court complete overreach, and that Prophet Key case was not handled correctly. That's where focus on Liberia stand. And the law is on our side based on our research that this was a complete judicial overreach, abuse of power by the entire Supreme Court. They went against everything, and Dr. Budi couldn't have put it better. Dr. Budi, let me conclude here to say, look, my brother, I do not agree with you. I am speaking on the issue, looking at two sides here. When it comes to the law, I maintain that the judiciary branch of government abuse power, and it is profoundly disturbing that the Chief Justice will go out looking for a case. When the last time the Supreme Court, no court in the first place goes out to find a case, let alone the full bench of the Supreme Court going out to find a case for itself to adjudicate it and impose penalty, that alone makes it simple that there was a complete abuse of power, judicial overreach, and on and on and on. Where you disagree with me, and I accept your disagreement, is that, look, this cannot be, this is not the only way to bring this man down, to hold him accountable. And I maintain, and I understand the disagreement, because this man too has been in this, on this path of abusing power. Because where I sit as a journalist and as a media person on this platform, this is a position of power. When I put out videos, when I represent the institution, thousands of people watch it. It's a place of power. So why I say, I must be careful. I cannot abuse it. This is the man that has a platform, thousands of people watching him, and he abusing monarchs, abusing sisters, abusing officials, and no government has taken him down. And if he have to take the Supreme Court bench to do it, if this man live by the sword, let him die by the sword. And this man said he's on the war stage, and the Chief Justice gave him the war stage, and he crumbles. This is the man game. Let you say, own game and beat him. Silent, that where I stand.
So my disclaimer is right now I'm on a war stage. That's my disclaimer. The view that I'm expressing here do not represent FOL. They do not even represent my family health. They do not even represent my son Al James now. But he totally disagree with me. 3, I am not on the payroll of Yemi Gbese. I don't even know the man, but I agree with Mr. C. Look, people like Key, they don't belong in the political space. It's garbage. He needs to be swept out. This man has crowded the space so badly. He's been showing soft porn on his website. Why do we allow that to continue? Can you imagine this man came to be the cultural ambassador of the Republic of Liberia, and he almost got a job? He almost got a job. It is because of that my friend Bushu Ben Keita was talking to the judge there to dismiss the case, because they were about to make it to represent the Republic of Liberia. Justin Yezan Opa Prophet Key. Please, people, come on, man, y'all wake up.
And now, if I can add quickly, the reason why Prophet Key was allowed on the platform at Unity Party's homecoming was because he insults people.
Yeah.
A political party felt threatened by this man. The executive mansion felt threatened by this man. This man insulted President Bwaka and President Bwaka's wife, and President Bwaka had to welcome him on the stage and shake his hand, because he felt that if he did not do it, maybe Prophet Key will insult him and Prophet Key will go after his wife again. He had to welcome him. So he has much asked. Gbese abused power to get it done. I salute Comrade Gbese for doing so. And I condemn him for abusing power at the same time. This is where I stand. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking for myself.
If the president of the Republic of Liberia is so frightened, if the president of the Republic of Liberia is so frightened of being insulted, or for his wife being insulted, that he will invite someone like Prophet Key, then he shouldn't be president of Liberia. Because then he has no backbone. Because you can cause my man, you cause my pa, you cause my whomever. If I have a job to do, I'll do that. I'm not going to invite Anthony C. to a stand because I'm afraid that he will cost me or disagree with me or tell me that, oh, what I'm doing is wrong. I don't care. As long as I'm doing the right thing, I don't care. But because they're not doing the right things, that's why they're afraid that he will start cursing them, right? So if the president invited him for that reason, because he's afraid for his man, his pa, his wife, and his sister, and then to be cursed, then he has no bone, and he shouldn't be president of Liberia.
Well,
Mr.
Anthony,
Gimen.
Elliot, Camara, Elliot, you're speaking from both sides of your mouth.
Yeah, Mr. Gimen.
He has a point. I agree. Because
Yeah,
I
Mr.
agree with
Gimen.
the two sides. I agree.
Yeah.
He's
Mr.
right.
Gimen.
yes, yes.
You see what these guys are saying and what Sid just said, that this guy have been cursing. And nobody have been able to do anything to him. He even insulted the president's wife and everything else, even George Weah. The cursing, we know that is wrong if you look at it morally. But legally, why you think they're not being able to charge him with anything? Because they have no case. They really have no case. It is not a crime. It is not a crime. That is why they could not bring him to any lower court. That is why they cannot bring him to criminal court or to civil court. Because it will fall through. It is not a crime. Not even here in the US that you're copying. So they're getting emotional and personal revenge. So they decide that in the lower court, it will not work. It's not a crime. So they fast track it into the Supreme Court that is not a trial court so that they can pretty much abuse power there and then put him in jail. It's the kind of nonsense that we'll be agreeing with. You think Boaga, then they're stupid that they could not charge him? They could not bring him to court? You think the Justice Ministry could not bring him to court? But because it's not a crime, he did not commit any crime. Forget about whether we curse and it's wrong morally or in society. But you're saying that we should be legal. It is not a crime. He did not commit.
Is that Anthony?
That is why nobody.
No, that the Fadiga brother, when he and Prophet Key were on the campaign trail, when they were cursing President Weah and trying to bring Joseph Boaga, that in there.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So you see, but you see, it's not a crime. That is why. Are we saying that Prophet Key cursing? Because I keep hearing this talk about how he don't belong in a political space. Somebody cursing mom, and the person suffering of 45,000 just so that they can buy a vehicle where the people are dying, people are hungry, kids can't go to school, they sit on the ground. Who doesn't belong in the political space? All the same criminals in the judiciary, in the legislature, in the executive. Those people stealing and suffering everything in the country. They don't belong in that political space. Not Prophet Key. Not because we support people that are already in that space, siphoning off, and we also intend on entering that space. So we're preparing the bed already so that when we lay in it, then we are covered. We should not play this kind of game here.
Thank you. Anthony said, let's look at the way to deal with this, right? Because we can't put the genie back in the box. When you and I were growing up, you are the newer generation than we are. When we were growing up, we had things like civics, right? They taught civics. The family was the fulcrum of society. So everything that our upbringing were predicated on the home. So what does this say now about our education system? Well, Prophet Key made it clear. He said he's of the last, you remember what is even true. He said he did 5th grade. He said, the last grade he remember was 5th grade, that he went to school, 5th grade. So what does this say about our education system? Because education is not only about A, B, and C and passing, it's about setting the stage, our moral values, our constitution, our preamble, our pledge, our allegiance, all of these form who we are. Where do we go from here educationally to address this issue? Because sending someone to jail alone will not be enough.
And Mr. Gilman, I like the angle you're bringing. My emphasis would be on the moral side. And Dr. Bodie here says something about President Boaga, that if President Boaga, as the head of state, could allow this man and him to be on the same platform, the same podium, all right, then he should not be president. I know he's making a moral argument here. President Boakai won and he should be president. But he's saying that if he, as the leader of the country, can condone a man with such behavior in a place where honorable people should sit, people who should represent our society, and he will welcome that man in such space, then he is not defending the moral of our society. Then he's not amplifying the better representation of morality and decency in our society. And I want to agree with Dr. Bodie, and my good friend Ty was saying that maybe Anthony say in Labrador, so he careful with what he's saying. Anthony say, you see here, is not a coward. I rather die saying what I believe in than to be a coward like Prophet Key, who will not say in a court to the judges that you are corrupt, and if you're given the opportunity to insult you again, I will do it because you are a disappointment in our society. That's what I expected him to do, either in court or outside of court, and he failed miserably on the same world stage. So let me say it clearly. President Boakai did not exhibit everything that he learned as a statement that have been around. When President Boakai was born, the time he grew up, that's the time Liberia has a moral standing as a country. During his time, when he was coming up, young people were not insulting elders. People were not abusing leaders publicly as Prophet Key did. And for him to allow that man to appear on stage and even shake his hand, and there were conversations that they were taking, were even offering him a job, he should not have allowed that. If anybody could do that or understand, but now President Boakai, with his upbringing, the time he was born and all that. So I agree with Dr. Bully. So President Boakai, he dropped the ball, and maybe Bully is right. On the moral ground, on the ground of decency, he should not be president because he failed us as a people.
Yeah, but Anthony, let me push back. President Boakai doing his campaign, he made it clear. He said, I will dance with the devil as long as I win. And the people agree with him and they voted for him. So now why should we say we are disappointed when the man told you my game plan is when I'm going to do anything to win, including dancing with the devil. These are the act of the devil. So why are people like...
now you dance with the devil, you get the political power, rescue the people as promised. Rescue us from this behavior being exhibited by this man. Because there are many mothers and sisters who have been suffering at the hands of this man. Why couldn't President Boakai rescue us? When he had the opportunity to rescue us, he used Bushman Keita and would not rescue our sisters and mothers from this man with their loud mouth insulting. He did not do so. And I rest.
Yeah, but Mr. Brother Jerome, he misquoted Dr. Booty. That is not even what Dr. Booty said.
But let me. Why you wanna cry more than be real woman and coming to you? Let me go to Dr. Booty. Dr. Booty. Here we are. We are talking about morality now. Since we got a separation of church and state, we cannot define what morality is, but we can define what the family is. When we were growing up, you guys are much younger than we are. When you were growing up, you wouldn't use foul language near adults, any adult, whether they're from your family, because it was something that was it was culture universal, right? You go to Sino, you can't curse around older people. When they even hear you on the playground, they will go and maybe spank you right there. That was not Bassa, Pele, Crew. It was universal across the country. So that tells me the breakdown of our civil society, the family. Nobody wants to talk about this. I know it's a Supreme Court thing, but let's talk about the breakdown of our family, because this is the genesis of what we have in here. Garbage in, garbage out. Our family structure has become garbage, and this is our product. What you say about the family, the breakdown of the family.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gayman. So let me just clarify, because I know Mr. Tao has been trying to be my opponent lawyer here. So my initial position because Mr. T.S. mentioned that the president was afraid and the party was afraid. And I said, well, if he is afraid, then he's spineless. And because he's spineless, he shouldn't be president. Having said that, when Mr. C.H. explained the other side, I'm going to claim both as what I was trying to say, because he explained that side, the moral side of it, very, very nicely. That I'll say, okay, yeah, I was saying that as well, even though it wasn't my initial interpretation. I was focusing more on him being spineless and being afraid of Prophet Key, as Mr. C said. But I like the way he put it, so I'll claim that as well, and I'm not ashamed. Mr. Gaiman, look, I think this is a very important conversation to have. And if I steal from my brother Anthony, there are many legs to this conversation about the breakdown of family structure in Nigeria. Obviously, the war had a major issue, a major contributing factor. You had children who were being drugged, used as child soldiers, given power to disrespect elderly people. And most of those young children are now adults and raising children. And they don't even know what morality is or what the family structure should be or how a civilized society is supposed to behave. So that's one aspect. You have the other aspect of the fact that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and George Weah and now President Bouazizi have failed to develop the country to a point where Papa, like Ellen used to say, when Papa coming home, what in Papa coming home with? Papa ain't staying coming home with nothing. And when Papa can bring something home, the children, I expect the children to respect Papa. You know, I've got 2 kids, and today we went to church, and after church, they said, oh, what do you want for lunch? And they said, oh, they wanted to go out to eat. Now, Papa can afford to take them out to eat, but imagine Papa couldn't afford to take them out to eat. Do you think they will respect Papa? No, they wouldn't respect Papa. So there is also the corruption aspect and the fact that 80-something% of our national budget go to recurring expenditure. That's also an issue that we have to deal with. And then you have all of these young people who are idle, doing nothing, exposed to all of these kind of foul languages that they're seeing on the internet, because now the internet is a new thing, right? Even in your country, in the US and here in the UK, we know how difficult it is to manage children nowadays with access to this internet. They're learning so many foul things on the internet, so it's making it difficult. If you ask me how does Liberia address the issue, I can sit here and tell you I don't know. I'll have to go back to the drawing board. I have to reflect on it and think, but it is an issue that we need to address. We need to go back to the basis where family structures means something in Liberia, where we understand the hierarchy of the family, mommy and daddy. Children know that they have to respect their elders. And I believe to do that, we need to solve these different issues, look at these different factors in terms of what the war did, in terms of the young people, in terms of the country not being able to give Papa the ability to bring money home to support his family, and also the fact that you have young people, because if you look at here in the UK, I think Australia recently banned social media access for certain young people, right? The UK is looking at doing it as well. France is looking at doing it. Maybe Liberia should look at doing certain things like that. Whether we can afford to do it, that's another problem. But we need to consider the access that young people are having at a very, very young age to I don't know the word, but things that adults should be looking at, they're looking at these things, and those things are contributing to some of the disrespect we're seeing in our country.
Mr. Tao, this is a conversation that should be held at every church, every mosque. For those who are here, who are members of the Poorer Society and the Ascending Society, this is where civic societies, our civics used to say, the government begins in the home. These secret societies, these fraternities and sororities, this is the conversation that we should be having real discussion about our family, our how the family, the values of our value system. Why aren't we talking about this? But now, like someone said, Prophet Key can win a legislative seat if you give him the chance. He is so popular that he could actually be in the House representing us with nothing to provide, but got there, like Yaka Kolba got there because he can curse the more and disrespect people the more. And the Dara Dillons of the world, they all follow Yeke Kolba spent millions of dollars to get him elected because he was insulting President Weah. How is it that the mosques, the churches, the sorority, and how come we're not having this conversation? Today, I didn't, on the front page of the paper, I didn't hear anything about the Providence Baptist Church condemned, or the AME Church, or the Methodist Church, or the Baptist Church saying that we need to go back to the family structure. I'm not hearing anybody say anything. What happened to us?
Because the churches, just in general, they only have interest in that 10% for God that you have to bring. So they are also part of the corruption. They are corrupting the people. They are promising a heaven that they've never been to. They're promising God's blessing that they have no control over, and the siphoning of money from the people. So in some instances, they need to be held responsible. It's one of the most corrupt institutions, the religious groups. So you can look up to a corrupt institution to bring a sanity when you talk about morality and accountability. That's established. But look, this is what I will say. Dr. Budi spoke very well, and he mentioned some stuff, and I will point a couple of things out. You know, he said, because of the war, before I actually come to address the issue, he said, because of the war, so the kids that are growing up, they grew up in the war, and so, you know, they don't want to know. The kids that grew up in the war are the ones running the government. They're the ones running the country. I was one of those kids. I'm going to be 53 this year. So just imagine. Most of the people in the government are in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. Those people grew up in the war. That is a breakdown that you are having. Okay? And I was going to make the point. In any family structure, if the parents cannot afford to provide for the children, in any society, the children will become wild. Because let me tell you something, in this whole life, nobody really cares about you, even your own children, generally from when they're growing up. It is your ability to provide their needs that see where the daily bread comes from. Most times it makes them to lend you respect. And that starts so early, so then that becomes the norm, and then it just becomes part of them. And so now when they grow up, it's not ingrained into them, and they show that respect. But if this stuff doesn't exist to where you can provide for them, they come home, they're hungry, they can't get anything from you, the entire social economic structure break down. And that is what the war did. And so we are saying, how do we solve this? It can be solved. We can be here and blame somebody that cursed mom and all this one. That is not where the problem is. It's distraction that the corrupt government is trying to follow, both judicial and everybody else. Make the country work. Stop stealing the money. Invest in the people. Take like about 10 to 15% of the money, invest 80% of that money into the public. Create industries. Invest in the children, develop the youth. Where parents can afford to feed their children. You reverse that, very quickly you will see the children that will be growing up. You know, Dr. Budi just said something. My daughter comes to me every time, hey, can I check into this? We have the discussion. I say, okay, I have a job for you. I don't have money to give you. You have to work for it. And then we'll do that kind of exchange. But that creates a relationship wherein she knows that anytime she comes, because she needs something or she needs help on something, there is always a way in our avenues, either through me or the mom. So that develop a certain level of respect and dependability, right? And that kind of move that. That doesn't exist in an area where the parents don't work. I have nieces and nephews that raise themselves on the street because everything broke down. The struggle that I'm going through right now, just to get them so that I can set them on the right track, it's a whole struggle, especially the boys. The girls are a lot easier to deal with. Almost all the girls I engage them, I talk to them and everything. When they say, Uncle, this is what I want to do when I invest in it, helping the boys, I almost have to go get people to arrest them, to threaten them with jail, all this stuff, because men are a little bit different. Men are tough people, men are like warriors. This is the problem that we have, and it can be reversed. The government need to work. It doesn't matter how many churches. Look, we talk about morality and all this stuff in an area where there is corruption, where there is poverty. Morality really doesn't exist. People have to survive, and whatever they think they have to do to survive come first. Morality is out the window. Morality can only exist if people actually can take care of themselves, they can afford to live. Then they can make moral judgment. They can say, I don't need that laptop to steal it from Brother C. I get paid next month, I can buy another one. Or I don't need to go here cassava farm to uproot it. You think the guy sleeping hungry for 2 days. All of a sudden, he will eat first. So he will go dig up your cassava, he will come and bust your door and steal something. So we keep the morality and poverty cannot exist in the same space.
Great. Let me.
Who are Christian? Let me just. Who are Christian? David said this, Lord, don't give me so little that I will disobey you. Why was David talking about that? So I can be immoral. Because if I don't have, I'm going to do things that are not going to follow your way. Give me enough so that I can be able to sustain. And then so that's it right there. So it can be stopped, gentlemen. So let's hold the judges and the way. Let me just end with this. So these are the area here. So it can be solved by the Supreme Court not getting abusing power. That can be solved right there. Legislature not taking the justice, not taking the executive, not taking the, let them invest in the people. Let the country work. Once the country start working, you will see a whole bunch of the stuff, drugs, all the stuff, you will see it diminishing a lot. Not that will go away, but it will diminish.
Let me go to Mr. C here, because the reason I let him keep him anytime he could go up. Mr. C, let me read. I know this will be private. It came from the State Department. Somebody sent it to me. I will read it real quick and then I will let you. It says here, who's killing Liberia is. I don't know if you've seen this, but it says the blame for what Liberia has become falls squarely on us, you and me. Our wickedness stinks to the high heaven as we go about our daily life, pulling down everyone and everything just to become rich. We import substandard products, fake drugs, and expired baby food, unfit for human consumption. We poison our people and destroy our environment without remorse. We steal from widows, orphans, and refugees. We take very little that they have and actually sell it for personal gain. No conscience, no fear of God. Nothing is sacred in Liberia. We even go as far as killing our own friends and relatives just to seize their hard-earned properties, lands, and inheritance. Greed has turned us into monsters. We value property more than life. We throw garbage in the streets, refuse to clean our homes, and allow overgrown grass, filth around our houses. We won't fix the road leading to our gates, but we sit and wait for the government to do it. The dirt is killing us, filth is killing us, and still we do nothing. We have gotten used to people walking in impunity, no shame, no conscience. Even worse, we support corruption, wrongdoing, simply because we directly or indirectly benefit. We cheer for thieves when they are our relatives. We vote for crooks when they are our tribe. We close our eyes to injustice if it feeds our pockets. No one is spared in the Republic of Liberia. Our architects, our engineers, our contractors, building substandard roads, schools, houses, hospitals, cutting corners, and putting lives at risk at all costs for profit. And the life one lost cannot be brought back. This is just a basic. This is written by somebody from one of the embassies that were with me in Liberia for the 5 weeks. This is what we did. This is what they observed when we were driving around the country. So recently, Honorable CA, Liberia was denied a seat on the African bench. at the OAU or the AU, which is a major disgrace. I think the Supreme Court might have thrown Liberia a saving grace or line that we hook on, and we decided not to discuss that. But these are some of the things we are talking about. When the folks say, oh, we are back with respect on the international level, I laugh. This is exactly what we are talking about. What happened this week or last week at the AU, denying Liberia her rightful place. And then here we are at one of the embassy writing this about the filth, about the corruption, about the carelessness of our people. And then they went on to say they build mansions everywhere else except Liberia. Mr. Shiawe, this thing is deeper. These are people, these young men and women are running this country. They were once giving gun to split women's stomach while they were pregnant to see which child is being there. These are young men who made children have sex with their parents in broad daylight, and they cheer them on. These people are now in power. What does this say about our morality?
Wow. Jerome, it's good that you raised this, you read this for all of us, and I agree that the narration there written by that person is the picture that we all know and see. There's no debate about that. The filth, the lack of capacity, people being very irresponsible, our leaders not taking their responsibilities seriously. They don't know what is important. They take it all. They give our people crumbs. Look at the budget, Jerome. Focus on Liberia is running a program. I'm the producer of that show, the national budget. So we take a ministry budget and we'll do the analysis. This is what is in the budget for the ministry, agency, and so on and so forth. Because it's a huge volume, about 625 pages. How many person going to read it?
That's right. Hey, man. Hey, Liberia, they don't freeze my bro.
No, but our Prophet Kitty can run behind the calling.
Victor Namwe, I don't know if you were listening to the show, but this is where we are. People, the Yeke Kolobas of the world were splitting women's stomach, and they were debating what sex or gender of a baby would be. These are people who were making children have sex with their parents in broad daylight, and they were cheering them on. These are children that would make older men crawl on their stomach, undress them. They are now at the helm of power in the Republic of Liberia. So where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, I think the piece you read by Doris Myers, I think it sums it up. Boyma family was one of those who reminded us in the late 80s to early 90s that we are our own problems. Liberians we are our own problems. Most of the problems we're dealing with are self-inflicted. It's only because we refuse to take the hard decisions. We hail the likes of Prophet Key. We think, oh, the man got it right. What right? What right? You can't stand in the public square and cause women cause that right. So and I hope we'll all get up and scrub this system. This system is rotten. Because
how do we do that?
Because how do we do that? One, by telling Mr. Bushuben Keita not to appoint a judge who has not read the rule, who has not read the law. You think that makes him right? Because he stands on the TV and tells her, oh, have you read this? And so Martin View, what? Well, did you vet this man before you appointed him? That is the problem. A failure of the executive, the judiciary is trying. The legislature has failed us. Yaka Kalaba is in the legislature. How did he get there? And why is he there? This man has been re-elected, if I'm not mistaken. Why? And so until we face up to the reality and wake up, our system will continue to go down. We'll continue to suffer with it. Why? Because we're mixing oranges and apples. We want to be democratic. I get that. I have advocated for democracy all my life. But democracy goes with responsibility. You can't, because you have a right, like they say, to go in the theater and say fire, and then you go and yell even if there's no fire. You're going to court. You're going to jail. So, we have to get up and take the hard decisions. I think there are times I think we're mixing too many things. If you get a chance, my fellow in radio land, broadcast land, please read Musa Hassan Belete, today's letter from Sacre Pied. He is drawing clear distinctions. Opposition, dissent is different from disgrace or denigration. You can disagree with me without being so vulgar. You can't cuss my mom, you cuss my sister, you cuss my wife and everybody, and then that man got it right. What right? Don't I have a right to enjoy my peace and be protected? We sat in almost 2 hours. We're talking about Prophet Key. You just said that 5th grade, let him go back to school and learn how to express himself. Then he can come and be an activist. I'm not responsible for his limitation. He comes and every day he comes and he cussing people, my sister. I don't watch him. I don't listen to him. My wife's from Nimba, so yeah, I listen to him because she listens to him. Yeah, I get it. Kindred spirit. But until we wake up and face up to some of the things that are ailing our society, a guy like that is eroding the credibility, the moral fabric of society, of the judiciary. You think it's by mistake that he's attacking you? It's basic. You think it's by mistake? No, it is not by mistake. It is an attempt to systematically debase basic and debase the Supreme Court, the one little entity that you and I can run to, and we can still expect some degree, some modicum of sincerity, of honesty. He's going to attack it. You get out, you say, basic building hotel. Yeah, and then that is the price should have been the case. And that's what I said earlier. I think Liberia lost because it is possible that basic is corrupt, but that is not the issue here. We have to learn to clean up the space. We have to be responsible, my people. I know we're all liberals here. We support what is right, but this speech that is being punished by the judiciary, I support it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are talking. I'm coming to you. You see, I respect Mr. Namwe. He's a good debater. He loves to pivot, and I like when he pivots. But he and I come from the same school, so I know when someone pivots. We are talking about what would it take collectively, because this is what the piece I just read. Fixing Liberia is not anybody's job. It's my job. It's your job. I was hoping to hear that Honorable Nambu would say, gentlemen, we have to be on the ground to impact, to educate, to do public awareness. Because Dr. Budi is from Nimba. You're from Nimba, right?
Sano Nimba, yeah.
Okay. If I told you, in black and white. If I took you to Sino and I took you to Nimba, your chances of winning in any district is very slim.
Oh,
very slim. Jerome Gomez's ability to win in his district where he was born is very slim because I was there. You know what the people say? The Constitution says the people have the right to elect someone who walks like them, talks like them, one of their own. So every time you go to Liberia, they will tell you this is one of our own, meaning somebody who lays with them, who's the scripture says, sup with them, eat with them. Say, my man who are here, that's also, or no guy from America, don't mind them, they don't care with their BB book and all. So it is that kind of a narrative that got the Yeka Kolubas of the world in there, that got the wedding man in that took over from Prince Johnson. That's what got all of them there. So now that we have created this cabal, they are protecting themselves. They were not allowed the seal of the world to come in, the language of the world to come in. They were not allowed. So here we are. So how then do we break this cycle? We can't be on here. I'm very thankful that Anthony C is on the ground, so he's making his impact. Like I was just there, and now we were. But we gotta do more than that to help this society, to rescue this society. Other than that, we can't sit abroad and just think that by talking that things will change. We have to make that ultimate sacrifice to be on the ground. Your take on this, Chief?
Oh, no, I agree. I agree 100%. I think, and those are, when I was in the US recently, I was talking to a friend of mine, and that's the question he was asking. He said, look, I watched you guys on Point, and I listened to some of the things you say, but what are you guys doing to practically change situations in Liberia? Look, the system, like Mr. Tao has always indicated, needs to change. It's not working as it is. And there are aspects of it that we need to consider changing, or even changing the whole system in and of itself. How we do that, we have to be able to engage with the Liberian people directly. To do that, you have to be in Liberia, because most people, again, even Mr. CA, who is not poor, but is in Liberia right now, he's struggling with access to the internet, not because he can't afford it, but because even if he can afford it, it's not there, right? The electricity keeps going out. People topping up their phones and things to use the internet, and credit get missing and whatever. So I think we need to start having a serious conversation on here and between us in terms of how we can make some practical efforts, even if it means going back to Liberia annually as a group, talking to young people, talking to policymakers, talking to people who can actually effect change in Liberia and try and support them to effect those changes. Then yes, that's something I'm up for, and I think we should consider doing as a group, and invite other Liberians who will be willing from the diaspora to connect with those in Liberia, to start coming up with practical steps and ideas to change the system. Again, it's not a sprint. It has to be a marathon. So one has to be willing to endure, both physically, financially, reputationally. But in the end, if we do it the right way, unlike Mr. Sia, Mr. Nangme has been advocating, if we do it the right way, then I believe we can get the right outcome. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. We need to engage with Liberia more. We need to be on the ground to do that. But I think we need to start thinking about how we can do it so that we make sure that when we try, it sticks.
Honorable Sia, if I took you to Grand Cru, your hometown, in your district where you were born, what is your chances of success if you went to the folks and say, I got some great idea, I want to impact the young folks, I want to do education, I want to do healthcare. Trust me, what is your chances that you think the folks, because I know my chances in Grand Bassa, it's going to be an uphill battle because the folks find out that the folks on the ground have made a case against us in the diaspora. When you come and say, oh, did I come again? Or did I come with a big book? Did I come to this? So what do we do to counter that, to make to make it good for us? The chances are, I have seen some very good candidates, educated, well-versed, people who are willing, patriotic, went home, and their numbers are just dismal.
Jerome, in some places, depending on, maybe who you are or how connected you are, maybe the family you come from, I will agree with you. It will be a uphill battle to claim. If you put me in Grand Cru, maybe if I have significant resources, I might have a slim chance of succeeding. But I think the success we should focus on is how can we successfully return to work with our people, all right, to make huge contribution that will make us one to the causes and the things that we need to address to change conditions in our country. You made me superintendent of Grand Cru now. That's the job that I want. That's the job Dennis wants for Sano County. We will make a difference. Jerome, here's the thing. Made me superintendent. Anybody appoints me as superintendent for Grand Cru County, you think they get down and say that man behind God, by what we got to do with that man? The precedents They are not threatened by the superintendent. They don't care what you do. So if you are a leader and you pull your people together, you talk to them that, hey, we have a responsibility to ourselves here. We have been here for over 100 years and no savior has come. So it is time we be our own saviors now. And I think we need a leader who can talk to like, look, this is not impossible. Jerome, the first point you raised, the whole thing, I'm looking at the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is responsibility. When can we come to realize that? Oh, my current trying to go again.
You gotta talk fast.
Yeah. When do we come to realize that, look, there's no one coming from somewhere else to do these things for us? I believe the Ghanaians are doing it for themselves. I believe the Rwandans are doing it for themselves. Let us begin to do it for ourselves now. And that is what I believe in. Jerome, let me give you the scenario. We elected our first government in 2005 after the war. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf will start work in 2006. It's been 21 years now if you do the calculation. If you take out 2005, my understanding, 2006, the first budget was around 80 million, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. On the average, our budgets have been around 500 million, Jerome. Mm-hmm. So over 20 years, if you average it, let's say 500 million. You divide it by 20, we are talking about 10 billion. That is domestic revenue collected by our country itself. That is now money that the so-called partners are contributing from concession agreement. I'm talking about revenue collected by 10 billion. Jerome, think about it this way. Of that 10 billion, if only our leaders have committed 5 billion to public sector investment, maybe our schools will be in a better place. Maybe our roads will be in a better place. Imagine spending maybe 5 billion on paving our major roads. But our leaders over the years, over 80% of the budget have been going for their cars, their scrap cars, their travel, and all the other allowances and their salaries. That is how they run this country. And that's what got this tiny country looking this bad. Electricity is not stable in Liberia, but it is stable in Ivory Coast. Electricity is not stable in Liberia, but it's stable in Ghana. Are we aliens? I don't get it. So, Jerome, the point is that we can do it, but we have to agree to do it for ourselves. No other person can come from somewhere to do it. And another thing I see with my experience is that, Jerome, our own people doubt their own experts, their own. We don't respect our own. We don't award contracts to ourselves. Their government, for example, I understand they gave a contract to a Sierra Leonean, they gave another contract to a Chinese man, and so on and so forth. I'm talking about the yellow machine contract was not given to a Liberian. Our understanding is that the Liberian man had the capacity to. What is difficult about buying machine, Buri? It is not them. It's not the contractor bringing the money. The Liberian government is putting the money off, giving the money. So why you can't give it to a Liberian man to buy the machines for the country, right? But they will rather make another person rich. In my experience, there are challenges, there are opportunities, there's everything here. And there is so much talent here. The young people that I work with, they have never traveled outside of this country. But with my leadership, they can pay you any portal that you can use to automate your entire work. In any institution, they can do it. I can tell you any day. And it will take us a day or two to do so, and it will be operational. They have not traveled outside of Liberia. I'm telling you, Jerome. When I came to start my business, it took me 3 months. I completed my registration. We're operational. Some people may not be lucky. They can't. Will take them forever. I had a colleague who was trying to do the same business I'm doing. He got frustrated. I tried to integrate my business with Orange Mobile Money since February of last year. It's been 1 year now. Integration has not been done. But we are integrated with MTN, which is Lone Star. When we got integrated with our system, we can integrate a radio station in just 5 minutes. But the big institutions you see here, they have capacity issue. Many of them, they are technical people in China, in India, they got to settle time different and all that. These are the issues we are facing here. And some of us have the capacities to come home and be here, bring the talents here, but our people will doubt their own very talents. So the complications are over the place. And Jerome, what you read earlier, it is true. Now, think about it this way. I'll go into, what's it called? Broadville. The road going to where Cleto Watterson used to live. I mean, imagine a senator have lived there. When you're in your car will be rocking this way. This is Monserrado County. We're not talking Grand Cru here, my friend. Over 20 years, that road has now been paved. Forget about pavement. That road is now being graded regularly to make it smooth for people to travel peacefully. No, Monserrado County. Again, from Rabat International Airport to the capital city, Monrovia. For 19 years, there was not a single lepo on the road. 19 years. 9 billion raised by our own people. We have United Nations here. Unity Party had 12 years. They didn't put a single lepo on the road. Now, until Joseph Bokatan, they start putting some lights there. So, how serious are we as a people? What kind of leaders we have? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who lived in America before, Unity Party leader lived there. You don't know the significance of a light pole on the road going to your major airports? We have failed ourselves. And Tao talk about investment as a solution. Tao, I enjoy the way you describe the whole thing. It's a reality. If I'm a father, I can't feed my child. If that child is going to another man's house to eat, and in that house is a father, he will respect that father in that home more than his own father. We live in this country, and our leaders are spending 80 to 90% of the budget on themselves. They have abandoned schools. Schools are in shambles. And the president of the republic is riding a bulletproof car. Tao, you are telling me, say, in Labra, maybe I know how to talk. You don't know me, like, why you saying that thing? I have friends who go to the president every day, and they see me with these friends, and I speak my own. The president of Labra is wearing a bulletproof car. And let me say this to you. Shame on the president for doing that when children are not having even a befitting debt in schools in this country. Do you know what $1 million can do at Man D12, at GW Gibson, or Todmont High here in the heart of Monrovia? Many of these schools I'm naming, they are in terrible shape. And forget that, University of Liberia, where the president passes every day he goes to work, where the senators pass every day they go to work. The ministers, the Minister of Finance graduated from the University of Liberia. Samuel Tuer, who was Finance Minister, graduated from the University of Liberia. Go on the campus. It is a monumental national disgrace. You know how much they put in the budget? $40 million. $40 million cannot run a university. But that's what they put there. The university, $40 million cannot run it. But the legislature is getting over $53 million. Anytime the budget goes up a little bit, as though they have not had enough, they will rather increase their budget and give peanuts to our people. We are not going anywhere. The article couldn't be right. We are our own problem. We are burying ourselves. We are not investing in ourselves. We are not investing in critical conditions, in the sectors to improve the human and material conditions of this country. To see that 20 years later, we cannot make, let's forget about water. That one is a big problem. We're not going to fix it anytime soon. But electricity, in a day and age, we can't get it right. It's a big problem, and we hold ourselves responsible for that. Sam Wallow can get vexed and say whatever he wants to say. I don't care about him. He's supposed to let him cry. That number knows how to deal with him.
This is an article that came up. And that's from, it says here, why the arrest agenda needs a radical rethink on implementation and funding, especially when the Speaker and the Vice President's office had what, 500,000 for entertainment. $500,000 for entertainment. So what is it? You see, this is why we were talking about when you bring the country boys from the interior and you bring them to town, they don't know what to do. This man that was eating Zoclo.
Hey, my man, don't bring your gun thing here.
Yeah, I'm bringing it down.
Don't bring your gun.
You who are eating Zoclo in
Let me get my clothes in.
I'm coming. 1 minute. Those who are eating Zoclo in Nima, now you want to eat caviar. You want to eat fish egg. You want to eat and drink Dom Perignon. You were drinking palm wine over there. So you now come over here now. You now replace palm wine with Dom Perignon. You now replace Zoclo now with caviar, eating fish egg from Russia. This is the kind of people we're talking about. 500,000 in 12 months, entertainment, and schools and hospitals are closing. Yes, Dr. Booty, go ahead with your closing. I know you're in London. You time for you to go. But I mean, we gotta keep this conversation going. We have to make an intentional look. It is embarrassing when you are in the car with a foreigner. And they are looking over your city, your town, and they're making comments, embarrassing jokes. Go ahead, Doc.
No, it's been a great debate as always. Great to see you on, Mr. C. I think it was great having you, getting your opinion on the matter at hand. I'm going to go out and say that I disagree with Mr. Nangwe and everything you've said tonight. So disappointed in him, but it is what it is. I think that Valentine program.
Can you imagine Wallow and Ashley?
You probably had too much to drink at the Valentine program. You haven't recovered yet, so I'll put that down to you not being yourself. But no, it's been great, and I think yes, we should continue the debate. I think our focus now on Point and on Focus on Liberia should be more about how do we come up with practical solutions like Mr. CA is doing now in Liberia, his business, to try and help. Aware, as Mr. CA pointed out, that is going to be difficult. But I will be here as always, joining you guys again next Sunday. I hope you have a good rest of the show. And thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Thank you very much. And let me go to Honorable CA. I know you're in Liberia. One of the things that we're making fun of in Liberia was when people talk about tourism. And I'm from Florida. I just laugh. Because tourism, there are three things you need in tourism. You need road, you need connectivity, and you need public utility, light, internet, and road. We don't have any of those three, but y'all want to say tourism. How do I go from Buchanan, from Monrovia, to that beautiful place called Grand Cru, the beaches there, that rock? I think it was 4 years ago, somebody showed Grand Cru, the island and the rock where these people swim to, and you see this thing. You see the color of the water, and you say to yourself, Lord, how do we get people to this place to see nature at its best? For those of you who were born there, you are so used to it that you take it for granted. But when a white man takes a drone and gives you the overview of Grand Cru, you say yes. And you talk about
why I want to be superintendent for that place. I know what's there.
I'm telling you, when we're talking about when we are talking about how do we get to this kind of beautiful oasis, you need roads, you need connectivity, you need public utilities. If you don't have those three things, you can talk about arrest agenda all day. Ain't nothing gonna happen with tourism when you don't have roads, you don't have electricity, and you don't have connectivity. It makes no sense. But this is where we are. Obviously, I know it's getting late over there to you guys. Right. But your parting comments, hopefully you come back during the week, man, so we can continue this discussion. Go ahead with your parting comments.
Yeah, thank you. Jerome, you are right. When it comes to tourism, we need to make investment so that we can accrue the dividend. There's so much money to be made. Countries are making billions without taking a single grain of gold from underground.
No.
Just the physical beauty, all right, and even the history that we have. That alone can attract billions of dollars to Liberia yearly. Over the years, I'm not sure if Liberia has raised any money from its tourism sector. So we need to make the investment. We need to make the investment. Liberia has a lot to offer the world in terms of tourism, but we will not be able to show that and accrue the dividend thereof if we don't make the investment. And it's sad that I don't think any of our governments or leaders are prepared now to make that kind of investment because they worry about what they will get other than what the nation Liberia will benefit and offer the world. You know, they are not thinking in that direction. And so, Jerome, we have a long way to go, and I'm hoping that we can get there someday. We have a lot to offer in terms of tourism, but we need to make the investment. Our airport is an embarrassment, no question about that. You go to the baggage claim, almost like you're in someone at the bathroom. You know, that is how they. I mean, imagine it took Chinese to give us $50 million to build a little terminal. All right, and it happened some over 15 years ago, Mr. Tao. And we as a nation have not spent a penny since then. Why, if China have not given all that money? Will we even have a little terminal? That is the level we are in terms of not making the necessary investment in our country, in ourselves. So we don't have it right now. We have to find it. And Mr. Tao, if you keep sitting there, Jerome, you keep sitting there, Mr. Namwe, you keep sitting down there in comfort. You know, you go to the refrigerator, you grab something. I see palm oil here myself in Minnesota. I don't know, you're not tired with the cool. Yummy here are sweating, are eating organic.
I'm not sweating.
Yeah. I say I'm sweating.
Oh, okay.
You know, so we need to come home. Don't get me wrong, it's not an easy thing to all group yourself, but it has to be gradual. I mean, what ages do we have to reach to before we take responsibility here? So we can be another man who are enjoying comfort holding a piece of paper saying citizen. Here, this is where the real freedom is. The freedom in America is fake. It's fake. I rest my case, gentlemen. Thank you. I hope
I'm scared. That's a prickle.
Yes.
I'll be here.
There you go.
Was the EDB?
Taiwo, your closing comment, man.
Yeah. So look, there are two things. Somebody from some embassy write something. State Department is a no-brainer. If I'm in the vehicle with them, I will remind them of their role, their planning, their financing, their organization, and their management of the destruction of Liberia into its present state. We have to separate the two. Yes, we have the guys that are there now. They're stealing. But we have to be able to point that out. Because you see, we can still recognize the two and still hold the people in power responsible so that they do the right thing. Because not recognizing this will allow that constant intrusion to constantly go on. When the president of the United States can pick up the phone and call your president and tell them, I need for you to sign that Asla Meta deal. I need for you to sign the HPS deal because there is threat, there is fear. We have to be able to recognize and we have to point it out to them. So let's separate the two. But look, let's come to this. I think sometimes we are very insensitive to the feeling and to how the people in Liberia feel about us here in the US. And it's really sad. We keep saying that qualified people and people that are competent and all of this stuff. But let's look at the record from we can even go further back to the establishment of Liberia. The people that came who didn't have no right to the land, they claimed they were competent. They claimed that what did they do? For 133 years, they tried at every level to erase the culture and the tradition completely of the people, subjugate them into complete slavery. Until 1980, there was the uprising. The group that actually fermented that uprising, where did they come from? They came from the US. You see, we have to recognize these things. Whether they were progressive or regressive or digressive, I don't know. They came from the US. Generally, the idea was born there, and they were the architect. And when they came, none of them cared about the people in the country. There was power struggle among them. They could not even agree. So they split up into small groups. One is Moja, the one is Power, the one is Lab, the one is this one. And what happened in the midst of that? Doe came in there and scattered them. Though they were there, they were the country boys. What did they do? But the group that brought the war, the whole architect of the war, where did they come from? So the US, the Charles Taylor, the Tom Wool, the Ellen Johnson, Salif, all these guys, they came from the US. They came in, destroyed the entire country. And for what? Just personal stuff. It was not that they really had the country at heart. Then when they destroyed the country, the government in 2006, it was an imported government. We keep saying that they're not giving you a chance. They're not giving the diaspora a chance. The diaspora have always been in charge of Liberia, politics and government at the highest level. They're the main decision makers. They're the policy makers. They direct. Let's look at the dividend that it has ever paid to the people. So we can't be this insensitive. I'm here in the diaspora, and I'm of this the position that we are from the diaspora. If we feel that we have the money, we feel that we have the expertise, we should not, the only way that we want to go to liberation should not be through government. But this demonstrates that we really have nothing to really offer, generally. While there's some people that are offering something tangible, but a vast majority, because each time you hear about nobody that they don't want to give the diaspora a chance, nobody's stopping you. We have to be able to engage the government on areas like this. I know we're all here. Have you sent huge sum of money back home? The kind of bank charges that make it almost the soften up. These are the things we're supposed to engage. We're supposed to go and engage in the private sector. We have to go ahead and engage the government so that we can find ways where electricity is stable, where the different infrastructures are built, where that is a space we need to be discussing and cooperating with the government on, or at least engaging them on. Now, anytime it's about entering government, want to be senator, want to go and look in the Senate now, in the representative. Almost 50% of them are from the diaspora. My point is, if you don't live over there, no country can be run by expats. Expatriates cannot run a country and they succeed. Because our families are over here. What fear do we have if we implement corruption and bad policies and they fail? We just jump on the plane and come back. And you are telling me that the Liberian people, for all the years they've been watching this particular thing play out, that they don't have the right for them to be angry? That they can't complain? They can't point out that fact? To even say that, we have to be realistic here. If we say we care about the country. Look, I've been involved in Liberia in many ways. Right now, my office has been shut down for the last 5 days. No light. They say the transformer bust. We try. They put transformer. They say something happened to the wire. For 1 week, we've been trying. All the young ladies that are hired, they have not been able to work. These are the areas that we're supposed to be engaging the government on. We have some expertise. Let's lend it. Let's develop the people on the ground. These are the people that have higher stake. They live there. If things go wrong, they're the one that will bear the burden. Let them lead the way. Let us sit in the background and support them in any kind of way. We cannot be the one to leave from here and want to go occupy all these positions. President, Senate, Judicial, no, it's not going to work. We're experts. We don't live in that country. Look, man, we have to be honest. I'm told that we should talk so and talk so. Tell me the kind of decision that the local Liberian on the ground have ever made that have the kind of impact, negative impact, that the group from the diaspora have made. Who bankrupt NoCal, where the Christopher Neils of the world, where the Robert Salives of the world when they got bankrupt, where are they? Are they in Liberia suffering? No, they left. Where is Yoga Wazin, who became youth and sport minister? What investment did they make in the youth? As soon as Opon left power, Yoga is back here in the US. This is what we are talking about. Who forced the dual currency until the dual currency can go away? Liberia continues. Who forced it? It was a group from the diaspora. I know many of my own close friends who are in finance and other places that were forcing this because they wanted to be able to grab cold cash without converting it from Liberia and siphoning it off. So we are stuck with dual currency that the economy can never move forward. We are the only people in the whole region or in the whole Africa that is doing that. This thing, you got the diaspora, we are making decisions, putting in place policies that are decimating the country, that are detrimental. Forget about one local person sees some little money here, but the policy, who came up with changing the school calendar so it can almost align with the US system so that then the children can be able to come take summer vacation. It's the same diaspora. Change it. And what was the message? We want it to align with international norms. Nonsense. So let us be realistic here. We should not be insensitive.
Thank you.
People when they speak. If we are honest enough, we're supposed to tell them, look, you know what? Some of our people have come here and they are not done well. How can we work together? Where can we help? Let us put down all this European arrogance and engage our people in a way where it makes sense. And to last from the just rest. Yes, being in Liberia is good, but you don't necessarily have to just be even sitting in Liberia. From over here, I have done a whole lot in Liberia, and I don't think I'm the only one. Many of us, I know many other people, even you here, Jerome, you've done a lot. So we don't necessarily have to be there and be involved in government, guys. Let us go into the public sector. Let us stay away from government in that form. It's not the only way we can contribute to the country. In fact, we don't have good record in that area.
Thank you. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are talking about. If anybody tells you that we all sing the same tone in this symphony, that's a lie. We got people here singing soprano, alto, bass, and tenor. So yes, we don't sing the same song. Honorable Nabe, you were in Liberia. I don't want to burst my brother Tawo's bubble here, but he said we should try to invest in the private sector. I think you attempted for the whole time you were there, and they basically told you are not welcome. Mr. C.A. Anthony C.A. said it took him several months to get going, and he got some network going. He got some insight, and it took him that long. Just imagine. He said a friend of his who is not connected, he got frustrated and quit.
Yeah, and I wish Mr. Tao well with his transformer problem. Yeah, I'm not gonna go down, his diatribe. That us against us mentality is what get us where we are today. And there's assertion that the Progressive Alliance of Liberia and the Movement for Justice in Liberia, they destroyed the country. What history book are you reading? But anyway, let me say hello to my brother Pat Moye. I think he got a dog whistle of the Congo people. He just came on set here to rally around with his Congo.
They call me. They call me, yeah.
The people from Kerensburg call him. They need representation.
But listen, seriously, I've been seeing this commercial. I don't know these people, Dr. Stella Jeffries. I don't know who she is, but apparently she's putting together a group that is trying to go and rehabilitate the Hotel Africa area, and we're talking about tourism and all of that, even though our government is going to put up a tourist center in Foya and leave Virginia undone. I hope somehow, I don't know this lady, but it sounds like she's put together a group of people ready to go and renovate that place. So that I saw Tiawan Gonglo, Councilor Gonglo in there. He was looking at the art by Aravanja Riches, And Cesar Harris, I think I worked with Cesar Harris when I worked for the UPB Times. I used to typeset our paper. I think I still remember. But we have this so much history to cherish. We have tourist attractions. I hope and this is all part of the governance problem that we have. We don't seem to value our history. We have so much talent, but we keep going outside to look. So I hope Dr. Jeffries, Stella Jeffries, this commercial keep popping up on my phone. I don't know which, but I hope they get the permits that are required and they don't treat them like the CMC. Go and bring your blueprint. Then when you bring it, they say, okay, we'll build what you want to build for double the price you won't build it for. All that nonsense. Bunch of poor people come in government. They want to live as millionaires. Wallow and his friends. And that's why he comes to sit here every day trolling people. His people are thieving our treasury. That doesn't bother him. When he comes on here and writes his whatever he wants to write, but good luck to him. But it's been great being with you guys. We talked at length with what is happening with the Supreme Court and Justin Yezan, Opa Prophet Key. I will just close by this. I have a meeting at 7, so I'll try to keep it brief. Look, a lot of people suffer to create a space. A lot of blood. I could go ahead and name them. Wogabi, Tabia, Samuel Saba. I could name a lot of these guys. Blood and tears were wasted to create a space. And this guy, the likes of him, come on and try to denigrate. He has absolutely no respect for the space. What this man is bringing into the space is garbage, is untenable, and the likes of him, whether Yeke Kuluba or whoever it is, they need to clean the filth out of the public square. And I said what I said, and I mean it. We're all for democracy, but there is responsibility that goes with democracy.
Who's supposed to clean it? Don't let us start it. Don't let us restart the argument.
All of us, Michael. All of us. And we can start by not supporting that guy who has been sent to.
Mr. Pastor, when was the last time you heard, and I mean it? Where did you hear that? No car will be stuck on any road in this country, and I mean it.
Doing what I want rebel knee. I mean it.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
I mean it.
Oh,
I mean it.
So Joseph Braga knew what you were talking about.
So quickly, do I agree with the process that was used? Probably not. Maybe just as basic, But again, we are not going to allow perfection to be the enemy of the good. I think there's some good to come out of it. Look, we can disagree and be respectful of one another. This whole idea of once I disagree with you, then your whole family is dead to me. I curse your aunt, I curse your cat, I curse your motorbike, I curse your everything. That's not politics. That is not politics. And anybody who advocate for that, they belong in South Beach, including Jerome Gaiman. If you advocate for that, you belong in South Beach. Michael Pamo, Joseph Tower, Fidel Booty.
But two things can be wrong at the same time.
Two things can be right at the same time too.
Yeah.
Two things can be right at the same time too.
You can advocate against such speech. At the same time, you can advocate for it to be addressed the right way.
I just said that, Michael. I that was my opinion.
So I'm only reiterating what you said.
The process that was used. I have a look.
Honorable Padmore.
Yes, sir.
There is no way. Hold on 1 minute. Somebody want. Hello.
Oh, is that clear?
You want to make a comment?
Who that?
Okay, hold on 1 minute. I know.
Who that?
No, I won't tell you.
Oh,
Your name and where you calling from?
We can't hear it, man.
Hold on.
Put me on speaker, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, man. The way you said that, you said your brother will come here, so definitely.
No, they thought it was Gonglo, but no, you were low. Please introduce yourself again.
Sorry. This is Abraham Connor calling from New Jersey.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, man. When you said that, you said you saw it coming. Definitely what you guys addressing, especially with regards to the Yezen situation, I think I'm kind of constrained to have a little say on.
Go ahead.
You know, I understand Brother Nanga's position that the field needs to be clean, but the problem there is that when the field is sanctioned and nurtured by the very power that be, it's very difficult to be clean under the circumstances. Especially the oldest elected president of this nation's history sanctioned this behavior for 6 years. He nurtured it. They paid for it to the point they put the president on the pedestal for 6 years, insulting a sitting president and his generation for 6 unbroken years. Evident by the fact that when this individual came in the country, he was literally welcomed and they put on the stage with the president, the current president, and his wife, and they happily embrace. So at this point in time, to come and then you're trying to change the rule of the game in the middle of the game, it's a problem. And this is what this guy is a vile human being. Even myself sitting here, I'm a victim of his behavior. But when you have Mr. Blackeye, who happens to be the oldest president elected in this country history, allowing such a behavior to happen for 6 unbroken years because all he wanted is the desperation of power and together with his political party, they allowed this guy to reign in the entirety of Liberia. It wasn't only on Georgia, our mothers, our grandparents. So at this point in time, for Basin to be the one to come, you cannot be the referee and the player at the same time. The best thing Basin would have done to save the face of the judicial and give this of integrity was to recuse himself from such a case and allow it to be prosecuted. But where this guy can take out a plea? Nowhere. You cannot adjudicate a case at the highest level and you expect that this man can seek redress anywhere else. He's only at the mercy of the power that be right now to say, oh, we'll give the executive clemency, and that's about it. This is bad for the country's young democracy, so to speak, and people need to stand up and question the behavior. The only person is not a special human being that, oh, the man insulted my mother. People must have been insulted in our country for years, even including the very black guy today. So are you saying that what people saying that Joseph Walker is corrupt and everything else, so you may just pass around and start arresting everybody in the country? This is not fair. We got to look at the bigger picture. It's not about this vile human being, but we got to look at the bigger picture here. That's all I wanted to add on that, okay? And thanks for the time.
Thank you. New Jersey in the house. Honorable Patmore, I know you're busy there, but
yes, I'm here.
The reason most of us who are old enough, much older than you guys, we are very concerned is in a society where the highest court can just decide that I will pick up Patmore and condemn him to death or to life in prison. Mm-hmm. Because we have a toolbox that have all the nails. We just select the one that suits him and nail him. That's what's happening. This is not about Prophet Key. Mm-hmm. It's about this coming election. It's mm-hmm. about property right. Mm-hmm. It's about everything else in the country. If the president feels like just what happened in Tanzania, the woman, they had 7 candidates that were top of all the candidates. All 7 of them, 6 were in prison until the election was over. And she claimed that she got 98.5% of the votes. This is what we are doing. They have very little to do with Prophet Key. Your take, Mr. Padmore.
All right. So yes. So I wanted to play a video of Prophet Key with no cussing, but what he said about Chief Justice Bese. There's the cussing part, but somebody edited that video and just brought in just what he was trying to say. Extremely interesting. Extremely interesting what he said, what he had to say. But look, the thing is, if today, a Chief Justice can censure speech, wanted to stop a legislator from censoring speech. Most people in Liberia do not know this, but if I'm not mistaken, from assistant minister upwards, they have what you call arresting power. Assistant minister, deputy minister, minister proper. I'm not even talking about the vice president and president, but just ministers. They can have you arrested just on their word. They can instruct an officer, arrest this man. They don't have to give you reason. They have what you call arresting powers. They don't use it. Just because you get power, you don't have to use it. That what should make the judiciary, a full of integrity and dignity. Where before a judge exercises contempt powers, he must first exhaust all other options and say, look, they made this dropping my court too much. There's nothing else I can do right now. You know what? I'm going to hold you in contempt. And how long do you hold people in contempt when judges do? 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours? You said you brought a man before you. You said the man brought the court to disrepute. You wrote a judgment talking about traditional values. You're talking about the women of Liberia. You're talking about your man. You never addressed the court. Tomorrow, what will it take for a partisan judge to start when we open our mouth to condemn this particular government, 2029, and then they start picking us off the street? They start picking our candidates off the street. What will it take? What will it take? And this is what we're speaking of. And people think like, because you're speaking on that means you support Prophet Key. Nobody. I don't even listen. Let me be honest with you. I don't even listen to Prophet Key. That's the beauty of Facebook. Because I wanted to ask the judge, Chief Justice, you said the man calls your man. Where you heard it at? You actually had to go on that man page, click it, listen to him cause all the other poor man for you with your own man. Why are you even on that man page? And now they say the man on EFBC, but those are the things, we need to speak up against those things, because when it turns the other way, then everybody start crying.
1 minute.
And, that's what we are, man. That's what we are.
1 minute, Mr. Padma. Your name and where you calling from?
This is Ali calling from somewhere in the United States.
Let him talk a little louder.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to call this people. All they talking about talking a peanut butter dropping from a mouth.
It's too low, Jerome.
Nobody can give us any evidence, any facts of what they say, other than speaking with passion. They said the Constitution gave assistant ministers the right to say arrest a person and arrest them. What is the law? Can you cite the law for us? When people say justice, they say went above his authority. He shouldn't have done what he did. He's wrong. For me, I like to learn. Can you tell us something can you point us to somewhere where we can go and see black ink on a white piece of paper?
Yes.
With clear
Listen.
Justice Basic actually has gone above his power.
Okay.
Can you show that?
Yes.
Other than just speaking.
Yes. Okay. Ali, 1 minute. Well, Honorable Padmore, let's look at the Liberian Constitution. Let's look at the 1986 Constitution, Article 74. And it reads, in all matters of contempt of court, whether in the Supreme Court or in other courts, the penalties to be imposed shall be fixed by the legislature and they shall conform to the provision on fundamental right laid down in the Constitution. It didn't say.
Jerome, I'm sorry, I got it. All right. All right. See you guys. Take care. Thank you.
I have to do with anything concerning this particular case.
Oh.
We're talking about holding somebody with contempt.
Mm-hmm.
from the Supreme Court, and you're talking about what should be legislated.
Oh,
how do you put those two together? But one of the things also that
you ask for where in the Constitution. I just give you Article 74 say only the legislative body can give you the sentence. No, it didn't say law. It said the sentencing here. Penalties is the right of the legislature after.
Tell me that the judge will wait for the legislature to give you the penalty, okay?
On contempt. Article 74 is right there.
Yeah, but listen to me, Jerome.
Jerome, let me say, look, you click the link. We here, nobody going nowhere. Click the link.
Yeah, come in.
Hey, click the link. What are you calling for? What are you talking about? So you not get the link.
One minute. Article 74 speaks about what has already been legislated.
No.
And what should be.
No.
Now, there are portions of the Constitution that gives the Supreme Court the right people in contempt.
And what is that portion? Read it to us. You are a panelist. I quoted Article 74. You quote the one that tell you no. What?
What's happening?
Oh.
Okay. Articles, whatever article you just read, the only thing it addresses what's happening at the Supreme Court. That authority has already been given by the legislature for the Supreme Court judges to have the right to hold anyone in contempt. So what is going on is legal. We wanted to talk specifically about the contempt charges or the right to hold Prophet Key in contempt. What part of the Constitution is being breached? All of you guys who oppose this thing cannot give us anything.
I just gave you Article 74, the power to the power to levy penalties on anybody charged is not the responsibility of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court cannot grab a power that is not given by the Constitution.
Well, Mr. Gilman, if the Supreme Court, if the legislatures believe that even though, just for the benefit of the argument, even though it's clear, even Pamo, who talking randomly over there, can agree with me that what you say really has nothing to do with anything.
Oh, are you aware agree on one thing?
Let them hold the Supreme Court judge basically responsible for breaching the Constitution. No government authority is doing it. The executive has not attempted. Prophet Key went to court and apologized. Prophet Key lawyers joined the joint.
That should be the first. That should be the very first thing.
Come on, Prophet Key got no lawyer. He had no lawyer.
He was represented by lawyers.
Which lawyer? Who get his lawyer?
The court.
Thank you.
And in the court, the Supreme Court, the lawyers that they gave him were not ably representing him to go and tell. They did not make an argument on his behalf. They told him go beg the people.
Yeah, go. This is the Supreme Court own lawyer. They didn't even put it out there to say anybody who want to represent this man come. No. They pinpointed who they wanted to represent him and basically told him this man come out here. And the man came out and said, I plead guilty and I put myself at the mercy of the court.
And then sentencing to the maximum.
Not only maximum, but Mr. Padmo, where in Liberia have you heard? I never heard this before. I know it's there. Like I said, when the people want to nail you, they will find something.
I believe it was Abbott.
Where they will say we need a behavioral bond.
Can you imagine that?
Where you will sign that you will never curse again.
Can you imagine that kind of? The first thing that is illegal.
It is.
If somebody served their sentence, they serve their sentence. You tell them you must never curse again.
And you should sign it. And where do you get that kind of bond? What happens if nobody want to give you bond? Then you stay in jail forever. Mr. Taiwo, I know you. You came back.
This is what I want to say. I don't know if Mr. Nambo is gone, but you hear what he's saying. I know that is wrong, but he need to be nailed. The space need to be clean. All of this stuff that he's saying. Now I will call on what is his name?
Aliu.
Civility. bring in your American or your diaspora representative, because he's laying the groundwork that tomorrow, if you come to power, how your government will be. That he will be going around carrying on arbitrary arrest. That is exactly what he's saying. That if you don't agree with somebody, because they keep saying the man was cursing all this time. The question is, why you think nobody brought him to court? Because cursing is not a crime. You can never convict anybody in a court for cursing. It's not a crime. And if he alleged that the Chief Justice is corrupt, the Chief Justice as an individual is supposed to sue him in civil court.
Civil court.
And then he's supposed to have a lawyer represent him as the Chief Justice. The Supreme Court, you cannot carry on trial there. You don't try cases at the Supreme Court. Which one is so difficult to understand? But this is kind of Decree 88. That is what we are seeing here when they passed the cybersecurity law. We're saying it here. And so that is what they're doing. But guess what? This stuff is not for one person. They're going to be going around trying to arrest people. But I would encourage everybody, we cannot keep quiet, because that is what they want us to do.
It will not happen.
They want us to keep quiet so that they can rob the country blind.
Mr. Padmore, I spoke to a constitutional lawyer in Miami, and he said anybody, a party that is injured has to file a complaint.
Yes.
You cannot file a complaint on behalf of your mother, your father. So a business mother is dead. That case is moot.
It's moot. You cannot show injury.
No, you can't.
So
where these people, what kind of law these people practice? If the person is dead, the person is not living, that person cannot file a case for injury to their reputation or emotional harm. You can't do that. So for you to say,
this up by me.
No, you can't. How can you say you cost my mind and that's why I'm taking you to court? What kind of craziness is that? What happens if I say if you hurt your mind, let me cross-examine your mind. You're going to bring the dead body to this. Look, Liberia, I mean, what kind of country is this? Like I said, and I'm saying this to y'all. Look, when these Congo people decide to bring your country people to town, you didn't learn. This thing the people call cultured. You have to learn to be cultured. Your reputation is important, not just yours, but the institution you represent. So you just come, you wear that funny hat on your head that don't even look good on you because they didn't teach you how to wear it. So now you wear the wrong side, the hat looking. Your country people, stop that. Listen, you were eating Zoglo in Nimba. You were eating Zoglo in Nimba. You were drinking palm wine. Don't eat the people caviar. Keep telling you some of the things, and I agree with you. Some of these several other people food not agree with you. When you eat it, it make you go crazy. That's what this man is going through. Don't eat the several other people food. Don't drink the several other people drink. Because the several other people drink will make you crazy, like they're making them. Don't just stick with your GB and your Zoclo. Don't eat a caviar, eating and agree with country people. Now we start eating the thing, now we start twisting the thing like we impresso, like a presso, you start twisting it. Tomorrow, if the next person come and they say the Constitution, I don't know where, but one legal scholar said the justices are not supposed to be in business. Okay. They're not supposed to operate business while they're on the
bench. Let me know for that clip. Why you talk?
You run in a hotel. So you're gonna do like my homeboy Trump. When you're having your constitutional conference, they gotta stay at your hotel.
Exactly, right.
And after the same Chief Justice now who has a budget, the judge will stay in his hotel. He will cut a check to himself. He will cash that check. He will make an invoice to himself. That's the corruption this man talking about, Tao. the mayor has a point.
Yeah.
You see, they didn't talk about the corruption. They only talk about the causing man.
And for the Chief Justice,
yeah,
for the Chief Justice to get that agitated, to actually break all the law, it means where there is smoke, there is fire, there is something about that corruption. Okay? Because they never build anything until they enter government. The moment they enter, they start building something.
Yeah, let me play this, please.
Go ahead.
Play it. Is it? Are you hearing it or is it mute?
No, the volume is up. The volume is not mute.
Wait.
Yeah, we got it.
Yami Gbese is corrupt. He's involved into conflict of interest. This man got a hotel in Nimakande. He's still paying it according to the law that run the judicial branch of government, magistrate, judges, associate justice, everybody not so being for into any business. But this man is involved into business. That way you see the corruption, we cannot get justice in the country. And I need to speak for our brain people.
So there you go. There you go.
My people, those of you who are saying everything this man does is curse, I didn't hear no curse over there.
No.
The man listed, he said, justices, why he named all the positions that you are not supposed to be engaged in business. Yeah. It's a conflict of interest. It's illegal. That's the law. He named it. So this is a 5th grade dropout educating lawyers, not just regular lawyer, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the entire bench, reminding them that you are not supposed to do this. He said, this is why we can't get justice. And he didn't get justice. So
let me point something on before we go. You gotta give me a fast pen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember when the Chief Justice appointed his son.
Yes.
Many people came out and spoke ill about it.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. When the whole speaker removal thing was going on, Representative Forrest Massacre came out.
So he's a drunk.
Yes. Called him a drunk. Talking loose talk. He never did anything about it. As soon as this man talked about corruption and the hotel that he building, he twisted it around.
All hell broke loose.
Yes. And he had to silence this man. He had to silence him and say, okay, if I talk about the hotel, nobody will back me, but I'll talk about the cussing.
Yeah.
As Edo said, that man just started cussing yesterday.
Yeah.
You see? And there's what he's trying to silence. This is the part that he doesn't want anybody to talk about.
And he playing on the emotion of women.
Of women.
And yes.
Yeah. And the one that made me, the one that I can't understand for the moralist is they say he cursing women. Why, if you want to ban curse, just ban curse, period. Say he can't curse nobody. Why you say he cursing our women? He cursing our women. What's about our men he been cursing?
Exactly. They may have all kind of terrible things to say about Mr. Cummings.
Oh,
terrible things.
But George Weah,
the
woman that the man had died a long time ago.
Yes, that the first man he caused.
Oh Lord, the sitting first lady.
I mean, people can talk a lot of things about George Weah.
Yeah, but you know why George Weah didn't do anything to him? Because it is not a crime. It is really not a crime. You take somebody to court that they cursed you. There is no case there.
No, there's no case.
That is why people, there is no case there.
I say, look, Mr. Padmo, when Prophet Key come out, we got to contact Prophet Key.
Yep.
This guy could become a millionaire by writing a book. This man can become a millionaire by telling his life story.
Yeah.
This man put himself in the history books. This is going to be, I'm talking about, this is going to be a case study in law school for millennia to come.
If this was the ECOWAS court, he will win.
He will win, and I'm telling you.
If our literary rights, the only thing maybe the Liberian government will not pay him.
Well, that's not, and that even make the book, even a biography. If we read it, listen, this is something for. Look, I wouldn't be surprised the young folk, they are so talented in Liberia. Somebody would make a movie, like a documentary on this guy.
Make some
And it should be monetized for him to make a living of it, because look, our poor didn't get this kind of publicity. It was just the president against him. This one is the entire Supreme Court and the Chief Justice. One 5th grade dropout.
1/5 grade dropout, yeah.
Because he talked about corruption. But look at what happened here.
Guys,
the Supreme Court will save face, and the way they will do it is that Prophet Key will come out. There are calls coming from higher ups and from other places that are putting pressure on them. But they tied themselves. So now I'm trying to see how they will get out of it.
This one,
maybe they'll go page the rep. I got to pardon him.
Yeah, to pardon him, or they will try to see if he can come, bring him back for him to beg, so that they can say he has begged or something. But they tied themselves.
But it would then that would not be law. That would be.
We say should be.
It wasn't law in the first place, Chief.
Yeah, they're bringing that tribal thing in here, talking about.
The chiefs will come to Morel and beg
Yeah. Okay, guys, we now overspend our time here. Let's do
have a great day.
Thank you, man.
Great Sunday, man.
I'm gonna play our song now. We all are going to play the song. I know we all are be right. Is our